Welcome to SWU Farms Rags to Riches, where we turn an abandoned patch of timber into a working farm. One contract, one pallet, one stone load at a time. We're carving roads, feeding the sawmill, growing mushrooms, and stacking every dollar towards concrete fields and future harvests. No shortcuts, just steady progress, smart upgrades, and a whole lot of forestry. I'm Socks Way Up, let's get to work. This $608,000 land deal could bankrupt us or make us rich. We've only got the winter to decide which way it goes. It's turnkey. It's got a working cow barn, a chicken pen. It's even got a house for all of our farm hands to stay in, so they're not stuck in hotels anymore. Not to mention the shed space and the silage bunker. But if we don't get the cash by April, another buyer takes it, game over for us. So here's our farming simulator money-making strategy. We're gonna build another sawmill that can boost our monthly income from $74,000 a month to $125,000. We've only got late fall and winter to pull this off. We already know that this sawmill is a money-making generator, and if we get another one over here, the profits are just gonna go through the roof. But the big issue is the land isn't prepped yet. We gotta get that taken care of and make sure we have enough land cleared, and we need to get it extremely flattened here. This is just not gonna work with the way the terrain is right now. Lots of prep to do here. And the current sawmill has enough lumber in it right now to keep producing for a month or so we're good there. We do need to get the stone production up and running for the day. And our worker is set. He's in there. He's ready to go. And the other production that we did mention is the greenhouse over here. So it's still pretty much self-sufficient. We have the water piped in, and we have an employee sending the goods to the store every day to make us money. If you want to see if we can actually pull off this farming simulator challenge, hit that like button and subscribe. This is going to be our toughest season yet. I do want to spend a good amount of this winter improving this land here and the way we're utilizing it. The roads layout is struggling a little bit. You can see straight in front of us, we have to avoid this truck, and it's doing its job. We're not changing that location yet, but we might later on this winter. But I gotta get this other work done first, so we're heading over. We're gonna start clearing that land a little bit just to get a better view of how everything looks. But you see here, this is the route I was talking about. Hard to avoid that right now with our worker loading up the stones, and they're leaving now, which is perfect timing. We could have waited a few seconds to get past them, but it is what it is. But heading on over here, you can see we do have a good amount of trees already cleared that we've been putting in and processing in the sawmill. So it's got us kind of ahead here, but I want to get rid of all... That's a terrible view. Definitely want to get rid of all of these bushes so we can get a better view of what's happening here. So we are just going to kind of start right here. Let's get this lowered enough. And I'm just going to work my way around this area. Like I said, it'll give us a good view of what we have left to do. We can start flattening it out next, see if there's more trees we want cleared, and probably improve the current access point to this soon-to-be large sawmill processing area. You know, the big thing we've kind of ignored is funding. We need $150,000 for this sawmill, and we're just getting an idea here. I think we need to come over a little bit more. I want it about this far, and potentially I want to turn it this direction so that the loading areas are together, even though it might not look the best. And I have a few ideas for what I want to put in between there, so I think we're going to want to come out probably all the way to this area. So let's go ahead and jump back in here and see if we head over here. All these trees definitely need to go. Probably get rid of this cluster here as well, and these few clusters. And I think that, I mean, that really pushes us right up to this field that we're debating getting rid of anyways, but I feel like that's a good starting point. And then after we get all of these trees moved, we can start flattening the land. We're gonna have to raise it, it looks like, though. Hey, look, we lost a bale. Yeah, it's starting to get these trees cleared here, and the funding of this project is starting to concern me a little bit. So we're gonna head in with this first load and just see how the prices are today. And we also probably want to stop by the cement factory and close the loop on getting rid of those 4 roof plates that we do owe ourselves. So let's head that way. We're gonna sell this lumber, see how that helps the bottom line. We're about $80,000 short right now. we're gonna find a way to get this built in October. Arriving with our first load of the day, and I'm hoping this is a good dollar amount that really shows us, do we just cut down more trees? Do we look at contracts? There are a few available right now. What is the right course of action? And I think getting a little dollar amount right here will help tell us. So it's about 25,000 there. We're up to $98,000. 52,000 short right now. It makes me feel like it's doable after doing that trip. So we're gonna go load the rest that we have. I'm also gonna take a peek at contracts on the system when we get home and see if there's anything we can, maybe have a contract going while we're working on some of the yard. I would love if this soybean field was able to be harvested by us as a contract, but I didn't see it in there. But we're gonna double check when we get home. And double checking over here, we have 3 out of our 4 that we need and about halfway to the last one. So I believe we can come in here now with Easy Dev Tools. We'll delete object and see if this works like FS22. It does. So those are gone like they never happened, and we owe ourselves one more. And we're shifting gears here momentarily for a plowing contract that's gonna bring in about $30,000. So between the plowing contract and just selling the rest of the trees that we need to clear, I'm thinking we're gonna get our $150,000. Let's head over, take a look at this field, and estimate how long we think it's gonna take us. I don't want to lose too much time, and I definitely am trying to get that new sawmill into production here in October. As long as we fit past this bridge, we should be good to get started on this field. And it looks like the width is just perfect. What a nice bridge there. All right, here is the field number 30 that we're working on today. Decent sized field, not the biggest we've worked on before, so this is going to take a little bit of time. I'm hoping to have this done before noon. And that will set us up really good to finish flattening out that land, maybe also selling the rest of that lumber. And I think we're going to be able to pull this off, but let's get the plowing done and see how it goes. And just finishing up the headlands here, it seems like this contract's moving along fast. We're already at about 40% completion here, so the ups and downs should be pretty quick. And this is definitely worth our time and investment here to take away from the time we could be spending prepping the sawmill. But what's prep without the finances to finish the job? So I think this was the right decision. Now it's time to just bust out these ups and downs, and then we should be able to fund that sawmill. Well, it looks like our break from lumber work is about to come to an end here. We're 96% done with this contract. Just got to finish this last pass and collect our money. And with the money from the contract collected, we're sitting at $131,000. And we also beat our goal of getting this done by noon. It is 11:51. Let's head back home, load up another thing of lumber, and we'll see. Like, what we have left on the ground might be enough, but we might need to cut down a few more trees. But the goal is definitely within reach at this point. Now it's just time to pull it off. Well, we haven't really been selling these bigger trees or the huge logs here, so I'm gonna sell a few of them and see if that really speeds up our process. And being close to that $150,000 mark, we wanna get to that so that we can get it installed right away. But I'm kind of thinking the finances for the new property we want to purchase, that's going to still be super close, because we're going to use almost half of what we need, or a quarter of what we need, just to build the sawmill. And then we're really going to have just November, December, January, I guess about 5 months still, or about 5 months worth of production. It's going to be close, so we're going to need a little bit of extra cash on top of getting the sawmill going to actually pull off buying that property. We got to stay busy. We got to stay focused. I want to get this sawmill built because I did see another contract that was worth doing in October. So we'll keep plugging away, keep you updated. I think it's trending in the right direction though. All right, we've arrived. I think we got far enough in here. Let's see, 134 is where we're at. See, that put us over the edge, and that wasn't even really a full load like we normally bring. So we're at 159. We're gonna go work on the property, the land. There's still a good amount of trees to be sold, but the time of selling those doesn't need to be now. We could start building a stockpile. We want to make sure we have enough logs to populate the sawmill as well. So yeah, like I said, we're tracking good. Let's go get it complete. Let's get that delivery of the sawmill and installed and get it populated, and then grab that other contract. And it's in place, and I feel like we underestimated or overestimated the amount of space in the back we need, but we could put some sheds back here and start decorating this to be the area where all the equipment for the sawmill live, which wouldn't be a bad idea. But I do like these back to back or rotated to where the loading zone is right here and the loading zone's here. When we pick up wood chips, they'll be right here as well. But I think we're gonna have to reconfigure the entrance. So we had the entrance over here, which could still work, but it doesn't make as much sense as it would right here now. So I think that's the next thing we're gonna do. We're also gonna get some gravel put down. The side over here, I want to get some decorative rocks purchased and maybe flatten out this and turn it into an actual retaining wall here, and maybe put some fences around to make it a little safer. But yeah, the gravel that we kind of started here, we're going to continue, so we should probably get this out of the way. I mean, there's like a decent amount of cash sitting right there that we could make. So I think first, let's get the truck out of the way. Actually, let's get this thing populated. That's what we need to do. There's a decent amount of lumber over here that I want to go pick up and just get instantly into the second sawmill. So yeah, once that road is complete, this would be pretty slick to just drive straight up here like this. But now that I am doing this, it's nice to have this extra space, and we might want to keep it so that we can just start looping around. And we are sinking into some ground, so I think reloading, because of how much I changed those textures, might be needed over here. Or the ground level changed so much. But we have 4,000, so that's enough to get this thing started. Let's get that rolling. So we will want to activate all of these. That's been the way we've been doing it, and we want to change these also to selling. So from, basically 2 o'clock on, we're going to be doubling our production. Over here we got 18,000. Over here we got a little bit more we can get over. There's a few more logs that I think I will get moved over, but then we need to get jumping on that contract because we still got to make a lot of cash. Okay, we got about 8,000 here and 18,000 there now, so we are going to hop in here and grab that contract. Well, we got to shut this off. That's just wasting diesel. And I did find that Field 2 has a contract. We are going to accept it and use our own equipment on it. Starting on the soybean harvest here, we're going to do the headlands and kind of just keep working this until we need to get back and get the grain cart. And at that point, I'm probably going to hand this over to a worker. We'll run cart, bust out this contract real quick. Should be a good amount of money. We'll get some extra cash from selling the soybeans after we satisfy the contract. So it'll be a nice way to start chipping away at that $600,000+ that we need. And first time filling up the harvester here. And we're close to seeing how much money we're gonna make each hour as well. If we do get this land purchase, we're probably gonna start outgrowing this grain cart pretty quick, depending on what we do with that field. So that's something to keep in mind. But once we secure that land, if we do, again, I don't know if we're gonna make enough. It's definitely what I want, but we could get it, someone else could swoop in and buy it if we don't get the money in time. But things to keep thinking about. And we did mention, wanting to grow the equipment before we grew the land, but that opportunity is just too good. We got to figure out if we can get it. We're wanting to see the 1,500 hour click over so we can see exactly what we are making per hour, and we have 2 minutes to wait for that. So we're at $12,125, And we'll see here in a second what the total goes up to. So we're making about $5,500 an hour right now. That is beyond amazing. So that's going to be the key is that enough to accumulate the dollar amount we need? This contract will help. We'll look at some other ones when we have opportunities to. But that money's just going to start skyrocketing, especially after we get the land purchase and we're just saving up money at that point to start upgrading the equipment. We got a lot of hay equipment we'll want to purchase since we're going to want to move into cattle if we get that property. It's all tracking the right direction, though. What a crazy survival challenge this has been so far. I think this is the most profitable one I've done, where we started out really slow. We had a good amount of land with trees, but we started out slow by getting productions that were creating the income we're going to need to really blow this farm up, meaning make a ridiculous amount of money off of farming and have a lot of land eventually. Pretty impressed with this farmer's field so far. You know, he's got 2 loads and we're not even done with both the headlands yet. We're gonna cruise around the field, get it unloaded. Looks like we can do one more full harvester before we have to unload this at the grain silos, wherever we're selling it at. We haven't looked at that yet. 24% done. It's moving along nicely. That was not smart. I think we're okay. I don't think we damaged it, but that was a little silly there, Chris. And continuing on, we will get the headlands finished and hand over to a worker, and I'll see you then. All right, this should top up the grain cart here. And we are going to the farmer's market, and we can see the farmer's market from here, so not too bad at all, but this is where we'll transition into a worker. Once this completely fills up the grain cart, there'll be a little bit left in the hopper, but I don't think it'll be an issue. Let's make sure all of this is configured correctly. It is. And we'll let them do their thing while we head over to the farmer's market. And cruising up here, we're hoping to see about, I think, 33% completion on transportation here. So let's get these soybeans unloaded, and we'll get the report back from the farmer's market that tells us how much we have left to bring over. 39%. All right, one more full load and a partial load and we are all set. It's always interesting to see what route the workers are gonna pick, and he's coming right at me. Let's get out of their way. Not sure where they're going next, but we were gonna follow them along for the ride. That animal's just driving through the field. He must be learning from me. All right, I see the method to their madness. They want to finish this skinny section first up here before they go to the bigger part of the field. I respect that. Help them unload here so we can keep them going. Keep this process moving smoothly. And since we are so close, I am just gonna head over to the farmer's market right away once they finish with this pass and get unloaded, just like that. That'll give them time to get filled back up before we get back for the next load. And that made it 52% complete. Not too bad. And while we're waiting on the harvester to need to be unloaded, I wanted to take a look at the finances again. We see we've already brought in $55,000 and we're not even into the nighttime yet. So seeing where this dollar amount will be in November will really tell us what we're making monthly. That'll be when we get our first full month. And I think I am gonna head on over there real quick and double check. We could do it here, I forget all the time. 6,000 still good. So we'll wanna put a little bit more in there before we sleep. Starting to get a little dark here. The sun has set and we're in dusk now, but we have plenty to do still on this field. We're gonna go sell this or drop it off at the farmer's market and see how close we are. I think we're gonna be at about maybe 70% finished. And they got a couple more headlands or ups and downs to do, maybe 4 more passes. So not sure how much extra cash we'll get after completing the contract, but every penny's gonna help towards that 600,000+ goal. 73% transported. It might make sense to get a little bit of diesel right now as well. I think this might be the first time filling these back up. We'll see how much it's gonna cost us. It was about 1/8 of a tank left. And it's burning through that cash. Woo! $690. Farming's expensive. With the harvest all complete and 18,000 more liters to deposit at the farmer's market, we're gonna find out how much money we made off this contract. And the moment of truth, depositing the last bit of soybeans. Hoping to see the money start skyrocketing. There it is. That's not bad at all. We'll take an extra $17,000 and $19,000 really. Let's turn the contract in as well. Collect that. Another $28,000 deposited in our account, and we're at $75,000. to end October. What I'm gonna do is get a little bit of sleep, and then we're gonna work on finishing modeling or detailing the new sawmill. Well, we wake up in November with $144,000. Let's look at that finance screen. Again, it's not gonna be a full total amount that we're going to produce, but we almost did 100,000. And just from midnight until now, we've made 33,000 today. Trending in the right direction. Our new entrance is right here, and the plan's gonna probably be to clear some more of these trees, and we will do that naturally as we need to add them to the sawmill, but we have this nice gravel yard right now. I don't want to spend any more money. I was gonna detail it, but money's tight. We're gonna finish that out later on. But gosh, this area is starting to look better, more professional, and I want to figure out a way to do some retaining walls back. There's more bales? I don't know where those came from. But yeah, finish the retaining wall around here and maybe fence it in long term. But I think we might build some storage for logs if we can figure that out. I don't know if there's mods out completely for that yet, but looking really good. We'll figure out if we want to keep this as kind of a loop eventually, maybe completely. Yeah, I think we're just going to get rid of these trees and make this a big opening here. But coming together nice. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to figure out if we're going to make enough money next episode. We're going to get through all of the winter, and we're really going to finish the layout of this entire property here, this farmyard or production area. It's really turned into just a production yard here. But get all of these roads paved, figure out that reconfiguration that we want to do here to make this road a little more usable. You can see it will blend into the new road or the new entrance to the sawmill if we just go completely straight with it and have a couple roads spit out there for us. But this thing, we're gonna have to spend a little bit of cash getting it reconfigured, I believe. But we only have 5 months left to find out if we can afford our new dream property. It's time to get through the winter and finding out if adding the second sawmill is going to be key to our success to getting $608,000. The big thing I do want to tackle in today's episode while we wait to find out if we make enough money is a major redesign of this area. I'm going to take a little bit of liberties. We're going to use a little bit of lumberjack, a little bit of super strength, really a lot. But we're going to redesign pretty much this entire area and somewhat make it complete because I'm wanting this chapter of SWU Farms to start wrapping up as we move on to the next. So I started this journey of wanting to build just an awesome farm and production area here that really sets us up financially long term for this playthrough. And we've kind of failed a little bit. You know, the terrain's looking terrible here. That tree's in our way. The terrain's looking terrible here, and it's just not up to what I want it to be. And we talked last episode about how this setup here, that we have completely automated once we turn auto drive back on this, is just in the way. This turned into our main drive here, and this over here is our other main drive, and when they're waiting and getting loaded, this was just poorly placed. So it's gonna find a new home today. I think the main thing that's not gonna change is the shed and the silo. They will definitely stay there. The other thing that won't change is the sawmills. But let's reacquaint ourselves. We did have some goods in here, and I don't remember what we have, to be honest with you. Because we might have some... Oh, we sold it already. That's sad. Let's take a look at time-saving stock check just to make sure there's not some extra revenue that we're leaving on the table. We do know wood chips will be good to sell in March, it looks like. We could get $88,000 from that. That's definitely going to help on the way. And I do want to finally take care of a few goods that have been just kind of sitting around here wasted. Wasted? Nah, they're not wasted, but they've been sitting around here and not being sold. So we're gonna get those sold today once I can find my truck. And we do know a little bit of a rumor that this vehicle is causing the audio issue in the game, so we're gonna find out today. We're gonna test this a little bit. If we, do a jump cut and all of a sudden there's a different truck, you know why. But let's go ahead and get this trailer set up. We're gonna grab a couple things of mushrooms that we have and one long beam and get those sold just to kind of get them out of here so we know that dollar amount. They've just been sitting around for, gosh, maybe a year at this point. And after selling these goods, we're probably just gonna babysit the sawmills, make sure they have enough lumber to get through the winter, and try to get to, I think, March. April's our deadline we set for ourselves, but I think we're gonna just babysit the sawmill, make sure it has enough lumber to get through March, and then at that point we'll start the remodel. They're probably just a heads up, this is a different type of episode today. We probably won't be any farming in today's episode. It's gonna be a lot of talk about the redesign, a lot of talk about seeing if we make enough money, and to be honest with you, to be completely clear, I have no idea if we're gonna have enough money, and I am gonna be very disappointed and sad if we don't, but we have a lot of ways to make cash. It's just, do we want to put that much time and effort into it? This is one of those situations where the time and effort would absolutely be worth it. And somebody left their harvester in the field. What a rookie. Let's get this stuff sold and get proceeding with this episode. And here we go. Let's go ahead and unstrap these so they can get sold. And a good $14,000 that was just sitting there, so it's nice to get that dollar amount. Let's go check the production next door and see if we have that roof tile to delete. And then we'll be able to switch those over to selling at that point. And yes, there it is. So that'll be a little bit more money per month that we'll be able to get once we get rid of this guy. Got the roof tile taken care of. Let's hop in here now, and we want to click on roof plates, change to selling, a little bit more money like I just mentioned. All right, let's get home. That's not what I wanted to jump in. Let's get home and let's go ahead and make sure the sawmills are all taken care of and get through a few months and see where money's at. All right, I'm coming home. We're gonna wait a little bit. I'm gonna start cutting down some trees. We're gonna shut down a massive amount of trees today. I did want to retain a lot of this forest, but I think it's just not the best game to have a lot of forestry around. It makes things cluttered. I'm tired of the camera kind of getting cut off by the trees. We're gonna make it beautiful in the end. That's my goal today. We're gonna be really patient, take a lot of time, a lot of creative energy today to get this farm, or this production yard, really looking how I want it to look. And like I said, we're gonna close a chapter potentially over here, or we're gonna have a lot of money to figure out the next path if we aren't able to get that actual property we want. So I'm gonna keep plugging away at this, and I will rejoin you later when we make a decent amount of progress and give you a month-to-month update at minimum on how the financial state's looking. There's so many trees, guys. We've made a little bit of a dent. You can see all these trees cut down here, and I'm just debating at this point on what I want to keep in the entrance, and I think we're gonna maybe keep this cluster here, but then everything right here we're gonna get rid of. It's just gonna help make a road layout, and this line here might stay. That's, you know, the one that's just up against the road here, but then everything inside might go, because I do want to utilize as much of this space as possible. I mean, there's other productions that I want here that we're obviously not gonna be able to afford right now, but getting this at least a little bit closer to being designed, and we can know what we're doing long term with it. That's really the plan today. Snow's starting to come down here. We're almost to $200,000 just from the productions doing their thing. But I think it's time to start trimming some of these up and getting these a little bit more organized, because this is some chaos, but we can make it some organized chaos. Who doesn't like some organized chaos in their life? Losing some daylight here in November. We're up to $212,000 at this point, and just gonna keep plugging away. You know, we got our light out here to help us. And come on, trim the branches. It's just so much chaos out here, but we're making some progress, like cutting down these big pieces that we can sell eventually, or just easily move over to the sawmill, and then getting the rest of these branches trimmed off. These trees are kind of a pain, so there's certain ones that I like to save for the sawmill and certain ones that I find easy to sell, and that's kind of what we're doing. But I think we're gonna have to call it a night. It got super dark. We'll see how much money we have in the morning, see how we're tracking, but I think it is time to go to bed for the night. Almost 300,000, and we're in December, just starting December. We're not even gonna be tempted by looking at the used market. I just saw some things pop up. We're not gonna do it. We're not gonna do it. Let's check the productions though. Let's make sure we have plenty of stones. We don't need to really turn that on yet. Sawmills could use a little bit, but they're good. And wood chips, let's make sure that the price didn't just confuse us. But right now, if we sold it, it is higher than the market. So what I am gonna do to start the day, we're gonna take this order of stones. Actually, we don't need to do it that way. Let's jump in the tractor. Let's grab our grain trailer that we do have now. Let's get some wood chips sold. That's gonna bump us up to 400,000. And I think if we start doing some math here, I think the wood chips alone are gonna really push us over the edge to that 600,000. That extra $100,000 we're about to get that we weren't really calculating when we were talking about what the productions we're bringing in. Kind of a lost revenue stream, but we always knew we were going to sell the wood chips. It's just I didn't realize it was going to be that much money worth, which is super exciting. Let's try to get this trailer out of here. Looks like it'll probably be 2 trips to the farmer's market here. And boy, we got a lot of trees in our way, so we're going to try to weave our way through this part of the property, and I'll see you at the farmer's market. All right, first load of wood chips going on in. Yeah, 45,000 plus 4,000 from the environmental score bonus. So that put us basically at 350. Let's go get the next load. Let's see where this brings us. I think, yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident right now, guys. Just chaos around here, guys. Too many trees. Too many trees. So to get the full dollar amount, we will have to do a 3rd trip, but we'll maybe hold on to that for a little bit. Should be another 45 grand here. Yeah, the confidence level's through the roof, guys. We got this. 397's where we're sitting. In 8 minutes, we're gonna tick over. We will be at 400,000 with just 200,000 to go between now and April. And with that work done, it's back to organizing these trees a little bit. I wanna get this area cleared first. Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. I got excited to get started, and I think I should have slow rolled it a little bit more. Well, that's quite the pile of logs that we got going now, and it's 10 o'clock here. Lots of stumps to get rid of. This area is finally looking pretty cleared out, and we can see it will be real easy, I should say, to level the terrain now and just kind of blend in at this height and get rid of that ugly cliff face there and get this moved back potentially. So we're going to want to start shifting our focus now a little bit farther this direction. I want to get all of this stuff sold eventually, and we're just going to blow away, completely blow away this $600,000. I have a sneaking suspicion. First load going in here, and I think we're gonna get about 3 trips here, so December's looking good. We know this is gonna be a good dollar amount here. Yeah, sorry for the stress bomb, but I don't think there is any reason to ever be stressed about this. We have really set ourselves up well here. We've been really lucky without the snow sticking, so let's, now that I mentioned it, I'm sure it'll start sticking here, but we've been real lucky. We've been able to drive around easily. And let's go ahead and see what one load is gonna bring in today. Yeah, 22,000. It's gonna help. You know, every time we fill this up, we can expect about 22,000 with the type of trees that we're sending over here. We're gonna sneak out the back and head home. And load number 2 for December here. A sweet 23,000 bucks. We're at 460. And not a complete load yet, so we will hold on to this until we get it completely full and spend a little bit of time getting rid of these stumps and starting to work on this chaos here. I mean, is less more? Is that what we're feeling here? Definitely close to having enough room to shift this back as far as we need to, but like we said, each one of these clusters is about worth $20,000. We do know that from previous tests. So, I mean, 20, 40, 60, 80, you know, we could easily make what we need. Absolutely. Well, it is January and we're only $30,000. We're about $36,000 away from our goal. So we do know we're going to make it. We just got to keep the sawmill filled. And it looks like, unfortunately, here in January, we're not going to make much progress on cutting trees down due to the snow. But I do have a couple trees in the background here that I'll be able to move over somewhat easily to get in here. We have 28,000 going on here right now, and we have 33,000 over here. That should be enough to get through a whole month. We also have 12,000 liters of wood chips in this one. and 5,000 already here. Well, we know that we're gonna make it. I wanna see exactly when we make it. My guess right now is it's gonna be roughly around 1 or 2 o'clock, maybe noon, but 1 or 2 o'clock is what I'm thinking. And the most bizarre thing has happened. A bunch of trees have reappeared, and I'm just gonna clean them up. But if they keep reappearing, I just don't know what we can do about that. It's just, how do you just... I didn't update the map or anything, unless it did that on its own, but it shouldn't have. But 9 o'clock we hit, we have $583,000. 10 o'clock, we're at 589. So yeah, maybe a couple more hours. Yeah, I'm a little concerned. The textures are completely wrong on some of these trees that are on the ground, and we got a lot of floating pieces as well. I'm just gonna shut up and play, guys. Just gonna shut up and play. All right, I think that's close to where we had it before. I don't remember if this tree was there, but we are gonna, again, we are gonna focus on these in a couple hours to be able to get this shifted back, but let's do this countdown now. Let's get this countdown done. Enough delaying the inevitable. We're about to hit noon right now. 600,000, we're so close. One more hour, maybe? One more hour, let's do this. And 606,000, woohoo, 2 o'clock's gonna be it. I'm gonna get on the phone with the realtor now. We're gonna get this ordered. Right when that kicks over, we'll get back to ×5 on the speed, and we'll do a little tour of that cabin so we can, oh no, look at all of this crap. And we have $612,000. Let's go ahead and get that purchase. Let's go do that tour. Let's head over to our new property. Let's get back to the exciting part of this. Let's visit here. Let's go back into this cabin, which I'm gonna say right now, I did a tour, I accidentally didn't record it. This cabin's sweet. So we got a bedroom here. This won't be where we live. This is where the farmhands are gonna live. We have a plan that we're gonna do for our own property long-term. We're gonna stay in this trailer for now, in the mobile home. But we got a bathroom downstairs. We got, I think it was 1 bedroom I counted, and a little office right here where they could maybe have morning meetings, a nice kitchen. And then a nice side door here as well. Oh no, is that the, yeah, the side door here. And then we do have an upstairs as well. Let's go ahead and head up the stairs here. We have a bedroom here. The little desk as well. Across the hall we have, looks like another little hangout area. A bathroom here. And then behind us, we have another bedroom. Pretty sweet. I love when we get to see the inside of these buildings. I feel like every single purchasable house should be this way. But let's actually take a look, see now. We have our cow barn that we're gonna be able to utilize. 171 cattle. We do have the milk right here that comes out to withdraw it. And then a nice little area here. It's not actually little, it's a decent size, this opening here, for a pasture for the cattle. Loops around back here, pretty awesome. We do have the slurry tank. I do not see anywhere for a manure pit, so we'll get that figured out eventually. And then our chickens. Chickens are across the way here. I think it's about 360 chickens can fit in here. Yeah, 360. Food's 9,000. That should be a pretty good ratio there. Eventually we'll get that for eggs. We have 3 bins here that we could use. I believe this is in our property line. It should be. But we'll be eyeing this field eventually. And this one next to us as well. And this one. Kind of finishing, combining back to our property over there is what we want to do in this corner. So let's head home. Let's actually get this thing home for once. And it's time to really focus on the rest of that redesign. I'll see you guys in a little bit. So here's our stone production site now. I think it's turned out pretty sweet. I'm wondering what it's gonna look like at night, and we'll find out eventually. But we definitely have enough area cleared. Just gotta fix the paths for auto drive for this to work. We got the big lights up there on both sides. I think this turned out pretty good. Let's get another look at this up a little bit higher now. Yeah, I don't necessarily love it being squared off, but it just seems like it's easier to make things that way. And we should have plenty of room to drive in here, get set up, and do all the things we need to do. This is sweet. This is sweet. One down. I think we want to work on this area next. And then probably that area back there with the shed. But one of the things I do want to do right now, let's get back into the construction mode. And these buildings over here are absolutely going to go. We'll make just a 33,000. That's not bad for that one. And then this one over here, we're going to make another 11,000. So that is gone. This is going to move eventually. This is going to move eventually. All of this is going to get reconfigured. I'm not 100% set on what I want to do for that yet, but that is complete. That is done, 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 done. Done, 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 done. Now this area I didn't want to overdo with the fences. So, you know, we have this like enclosed area for the stone production here. We have the gravel going all the way through now, and the gravel's kind of connecting. And then over here we have this main entrance. There's no longer like a grand entrance that is, you know, surrounded by trees. We just have a couple that are still here naturally that we didn't want to cut down. But if we go back here, some of the detailing work was really, the back edge here was just kind of helping fix this line of gravel and where it ends, and just kind of threw down some randomness back here to make it look like it's been lived in, and that we haven't just showed up and it's all fresh. We got some, you know, stuff that fits with the sawmill there with some lumber. And over here we have like our huge trash pile that's just like, we haven't had trash service in a while, so it's just kind of piling up. Another big light there. We got, I think, 3 of them that we placed down. And then this nice shelf we have here, some more debris, some firewood as well, and a little more, you know, homage to our sawmill with that one there as well. And just a little bit of detailing. And distress the ground a little bit so it's not just clean gravel. But then we also added this little area here. We got a couple benches by this creek here and this gazebo that we could come in here and sit and just enjoy the creek and listen to the sawmill in the background. But the other feature that I did add during this was, you know, up front we have some firewood as well. And a lot of people, you know, they'll cut down trees, they'll sell their own firewood to people in town that drive by. They'll just have a sign on here that says for sale, $8 a bundle, $5 a bundle, whatever the going rate is, or they feel the going rate is. So I went ahead and added this to the undecided entrance right now. So I think that looks pretty good, but what a transformation so far. Being able to see that a lot better. You can see the stone production better. Everything's just more visible. Still some trees, but it's kind of obvious what's going on back here. Just a nice multiple production sites that are really making us bank. And we have 287. We did sell about $125,000 worth of lumber that I did off camera. But yeah, this is looking sweet. I want to check the sawmills right now, and I want to see if they have enough to get through the night, because I want to make it dark and see how things are looking. We got 23,000 here and 12,000 over here. I'm going to speed up time. Just keep an eye on the wood input here and make sure it doesn't get too low until we get to the dark time of February here. All right, night is upon us. So this one over here is looking pretty good for the stone production. I think one in the middle would be good. This light here is kind of weak, but that one does put off a good amount. And same in the other corner. But again, the middle here, I might want to add something to help supplement the light out here. Though it does give a good ambiance, really. That looks pretty good. Let's head over to the sawmill this direction. I think lining this road with some lights. Oh, I thought that was a wolf. This would make a little bit of sense just to give us a little bit more light out here. This, you know, we don't want this to really be super dark, but we don't want to do too much light pollution either in this area. So, I mean, a couple lights right by here would be good, kind of like these ones. Now that it's nighttime, I think I am going to do a quick little session of that. Yeah, I think something like that adds a little bit more ambiance, a little bit more light, but doesn't just like blind you, right? So this one over here, we did add some spotlights. I feel like this production would probably, like, especially if they're working at night, you'd want a little bit more visibility out here. But we got these spotlights up here, which would be interesting to see if I did place them pretty good. They do seem to be good so far. And then there's one more around the back here, which makes sense leading up to the door. That looks pretty good. But yeah, that's pretty good. I think we're gonna make it March and see how things look. I can't remember when things blossom or bloom, start growing back, but we'll find out. I'm gonna add a little bit more lumber. We'll find some trees in the back over here to cut down to add to the sawmills, and we should be good. Yeah, not quite here in March. We still have the dead grass, so we're not gonna see too much of a difference, but it'll be nice to see next episode how this is gonna look. And I think this is where we're gonna call it. I got these two done, and I talked about wanting to wrap up the chapter, but we still got time. I just can't settle on what I want to do back here. So I want to give it some time to bake in the brain and kind of think through it a little bit more. But you can see we did end our gravel road right here, and probably want to just start getting this filled in with some grass long term so it starts to look alive. And that might be pretty good for that. The area over by the shed, I think we do want to add a little bit more detail to. And actually, I don't think we can end this episode with this dip over here. I think we got to solve this problem. That looks pretty bad. Let's solve that problem. The sharp edge here, I'm not a huge fan of. We'll get that solved. We'll probably soften that a little bit, but this looks so much better. A couple like natural drops here, which I think we can live with, and a little bit here as well. Kind of blends right into, it really brings these two together so much better, evening this land up a little bit. And we took a lot of liberties there, but I think it's looking good. We're not done with the detailing. Like I said, we're gonna let some of that creative juice come back. And I think we will break right here though. I love this. This looks so much better. We did open it up a lot. I think it improved a lot. Love to know what you guys think. Well, welcome back to SWU Farms, our survival challenge on FS25. And we have planted grass in our new field here. We had to put some lime down as well. We can see now that the pH is good. Nitrogen is okay, but we'll want to get some fertilizer put down on that. We've been trying to make some plans here on what we're going to do with the new property, as well as it is spring. So we need to figure out the rest of our planting plans. So before we get chickens and cows, we're gonna want to be able to establish a feedlot, and that's why we have the grass planted there. And we're heading back, and I wanna kinda show some long-term plans for this area. So we have this bin site here, which I'm debating selling those, but we're gonna hold on to them so we have the long-term farmyard set up. But this will long-term, these fences are gonna go away. We do not own the fields to my left and right yet. 14 and 18 are what these field numbers are. We're gonna aim for those long-term for sure. But cruising through here, this is our property. This is the other side of the forest area that we own. And we're just kind of cruising through here. Eventually, we're gonna want to be able to head back this way with a road that meets up with ours. And look at that, we found it perfectly. But like I said, it is spring and we're wanting to get chickens soon. So the planting that we did over here with the canola is not gonna help, but that will be ready to harvest in about 4 months. And then this field here, it's smaller, but it would be somewhat nice to get some sorghum down. So we're gonna need a planter. And then the field that you can see in the distance, I wasn't planning on planting anything there anymore. I was gonna kind of just let that go, and eventually our productions would link up to it and kind of replace it. But we might plant sorghum this time around to get enough feed for the chickens going that we're gonna purchase. And right now the sawmills are doing their jobs. We're gonna have to get them fed with a little bit more lumber. Got to get the rock production going, though we have plenty in the production site right now. So the next thing to do is look at our money and figure out what we want to do next. So a planter is definitely needed, and I'm kind of hoping after that we have let's see if we can back this up first. But I'm hoping after that we have enough money left over to potentially expand again, because I need a lot of feed for these animals, this livestock that we're about to bring in here. But let's take it one piece at a time. You know, we've got that for weed treatment. We've got the spreader over by the grass field already for fertilizer and lime. We have our harvester. We have a seeder. We have this still that we could go roll the grass with. Upgrading the baler is definitely going to be required. I forgot we had this. It wouldn't have been worth planting with that because the working width isn't as good as our seeder. But let's go ahead and start with that, and we might get on the phone with our good friend that helps us find used equipment and see if we can get something for a planter that's not brand new to save us a little bit of cash, so we can keep our money, you know, going towards new properties. And every hour, a good amount of money does tick over. We got to keep that in mind with those productions going as solid as they are at this point. But yeah, let's go have a little rolling session. So the thing we're gonna learn here is, how does this function with precision farming? I wanna take a look at what the projected yield is, or expected yield is, and the nitrogen level, and see if it changes it. I do know you can get a boost in fertilizer without precision farming. Can you with precision farming as well? So we're at about 10 right now for our nitrogen level. We'll see what happens. Tiny little guy here. Lowered, we don't want it on, but is that even rolling anything? Is it doing anything? What is the point of this thing? Still needs rolled. Those are rollers. Now, if we have to wait till next month, that kind of does make sense for grass, but that seems weird. So what we will do is I will keep this over here. I don't know, I think I need the cut sooner. So if that pushes back the growth stage, I don't think we want to do that. We might be selling this today. I'm just gonna leave it right over here for now though, until we make up our minds on that. So that means we need to get the R4045 back over to the farmyard to get some fertilizer in it, bring it back, get the fertilizer put down on the grass field, and then we're just kind of waiting to hear back from the broker. I did make a call to him to see if there's anything used he could find us. They have not planted here. Once Ben plants, I will not drive through like this, but it's okay. Ben won't mind. It's not going to be his for long anyways. And we are going to purchase a little bit more fertilizer just to make sure we can get by, and really, let's make sure we get by all spring. All right, let's get this locked in. It looks like the working width is off a little bit. Let's double check that again. So we want to come in here and adjust this to 25.9. It's nice that we have this flexibility for when the mods don't get configured 100% correct to work with it, but it looks like it is off a little bit still, but way better than it was. I think that'll be doable. And again, this thing flies. I'm not sure exactly what it should be set at for like real life driving, but you basically have no limiter on this thing. It's just kind of however you can pull it on this mod here. So let's get this fertilizer done, and then we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do for a planter. And all done with that, time to just kind of let the grass do its thing, let it grow. We'll have to buy some equipment when it comes time to cut it, but I'm hoping the money from the sawmill just keeps coming in so that we can afford to buy that equipment when the time comes, because I think we're gonna spend a good amount of our cash today. It's time to get this back to the home farm though. I was getting the sawmill repopulated. It was getting a little bit low. We did send the stones over to the production, but I realized we already have a good amount of wood chips in both of these right now. So we are gonna fill these up. We're gonna get them sold. Prices are looking pretty good right now, so I think it'll be a good opportunity to make some cash. We'll be heading to the animal dealer. We should be able to do 2 trips here. One from this sawmill, and then we'll get the rest that's in that, but then the other sawmill has a little bit less, about 22,000 liters of wood chips. So hopefully, I was really trying to find some stuff to do while we're waiting for the the stone production to get repopulated. We did end up running out of stone over there. I did neglect it a little bit too long, but we'll get it back in order here and get the production or the process of that automation going again. You can see most of these farmers are getting their fields prepped for spring. There's one field that we were eyeing a little bit back there. You can kind of see it past those hills right by our bins. About $400,000. So that's, you know, we talked about this whole corner being purchased eventually. I think we have about 4 fields left. We're getting there, but a lot to do still. A lot of money to make to get there. First load of wood chips going in. Just a silly, silly amount of money made off of that. We just made $181,000 off that first load. Let's go get the other one. Seems like wood chips are broke. The sales location seems broken too. I think it's this map. So I think what we'll do on this next one, we're going to keep that money, but we're not going to go to the animal dealer this time. We're going to go somewhere else and see, because I don't remember making that much. That was a little silly. And we were able to get all of them. So 24,000 liters going to the grain elevator this time. Love seeing the automation firsthand here. There goes our truck. The dump truck flying. All right, let's see. Should be about 34,000 instead of whatever that gave us at the animal dealer. So we might not be going back there to sell things, or at least wood chips. But let's see what happens here. Are we clear? Yeah, we're clear. Yeah, that seems more realistic. All right, so we'll know for moving forward, but we're gonna take the bonus today, because why not? 38,000. Little collision issue, I think, but let's go ahead and get home and figure out which field we want to purchase, as well as which planter we want to purchase. We're waiting to hear back for a used one, but if we don't hear by the morning in May, I think we got to do it. We got to just buy a brand new one. We're making our way to the dealership. Our broker did come through for us, and man, it's slippery out here with the rain, but we're going to head on over and I'm going to show you the planter we're purchasing. So this is the one we're going to go with. It is on a pretty good discount here, 47% off. 9,000 liter capacity. It does require 350 horsepower, but a 12 meter working width, which is beautiful. Let's go ahead and get that purchase. We also spent enough money to fill this thing up, so I thought it said 9,000. Am I crazy? Oh, because I didn't realize this did both. So we didn't need that much seed. Let's get some solid fertilizer in here. Yeah, this is a steal then. Let's go ahead and grab 4,000 of this. We'll have to get those home eventually. We'll bring the truck over here later on to get those, but we are going to get through the night. Is this one of those you have to unfold to put in the fertilizer? All right, that should be enough to start with. Let's go ahead and get home, make it daylight. All right, we're just getting things set for May here, and the stone production was driving by, and I noticed this over here. I don't remember having a baler this size in this series, but is this one of the small ones? I just found this out here. And like opening the map big real quick. See where I'm at. I don't even understand why we were over here with straw. So, okay, so that's some nice Easter eggs on this map I keep finding. So last episode we did oh, there's another bale. There's another bale. Those are the smaller ones. They fell off. That made sense. But we're driving back, making sure the auto drive is now configured correctly for the stone production. We moved everything, and I'm finally getting it up and running again. So this will be our little moment of truth, and it looks like we are going to need fuel in this pretty soon. And I think as long as I make routes to the fuel station, they should be able to do that on their own when they need to. Slow down big time for this turn. I almost ran into the firewood. That's good they didn't. Still haven't just decided what I want to do with this entrance here, but we're gonna keep, finishing this yard slowly over the rest of this series. All right, they should avoid this light pole, but they're gonna make a little sharp turn here. See how close they are. Not bad. Now they should just pull far enough to get this going again. It should activate the belts. It did. And perfect. So we should start slowly chipping away at this today. But it's time to get started with May. All right, we are over here. We have $750,000, so let's go ahead and solve what we're gonna do today. I was looking at 97% yield bonus, and it looks like it gives us about 18 acres. Or we can buy 22 acres for $535,000, and it already does have a crop planted in it, but that's what we're gonna go with. So what we're gonna do is we're going to get the sorghum going in 3 fields because I want to get a ton of feed for the chickens. Potentially want it to be a type of situation where we let the feed store up for a couple years before we have to worry about a crop type for that, and then we can focus on other crops on the other cycles. Kind of what I'm thinking. But with that new purchase, I don't think we're going to plant in the small field. And okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Go ahead and lift. We're gonna have to do some plowing on both the fields, but let's get this folded up and we will leave this here so we can come back to it. I mean, what an awesome purchase for 47% off. Should do maintenance on everything, and I think we will do that after we get everything planted. But nice expansion. What we're gonna do is get the plow. We're gonna get both the fields plowed, and then we'll send in for some soil samples on the new field and get both of them planted, and that should generate a lot of sorghum for us for the next few years, I'm hoping. Depends on how many chickens we buy, I guess. But we will start looking into productions that fit the livestock that we have. So that's what we'll do with this area long term. We'll be adding some more productions in this site. Yeah, let's get this bad boy out there. Maintenance is needed. This thing needs washed. Everything needs washed. Everything needs maintained. But we'll have some downtime here in the summer to really focus on that after we get these fields all prepped. All right, let's do it. 2 fields to plow. No better time than now. And 1 field done. We were really getting ahead of ourselves there. We need to get some lime put down here. Well, we need to check the pH level and see if we need to get lime put down here. But let's head over to the other field and we'll start getting that plowed as well. And I think it's time to start keeping an eye on the used market for a potential used tractor. I think another tractor is just about due at this point. This will be good. This is a good sized field. What was it, over 20 acres? Yeah, they do have some green beans growing in here, but we're not gonna do anything with green beans, and I need other crops. So let's go ahead, get locked in, get lowered here, and away we go. Plowing our new field. Like I said, we'll get the soil samples next, and then get to getting the fields completely prepped and ready to be planted. I think one of the things that I kind of think about a lot while we're doing these type of playthroughs and making progress on it, this is definitely a Rags to Riches series, and I think back at the Rags to Riches series I did on 22, and I just feel like I'm doing so much better on making decisions on how to make money so that we can expand quicker. I know we are in year 4, which at this point seems super fast to be able to be making as much money as we make per hour and per day. It's just so cool to see, like, understanding the economy of the game, where when I first started playing it was just so tough to make money, and one of the main things is lumber productions are super important to making money fast in this game. You can see with the wood chips today, and just overnight we're making, you know, multiples of hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's just sweet. Like if Cattle Ranch was that way in FS22, we would have been a much bigger farm operation than we were, and we ended up being a pretty large farm operation. But it's cool to see when you take the time to use the productions the way they were designed. And I know there's a lot of people that have made comments over the years of farmers don't do both. They don't run productions or operations like that and do farming. It's usually one or the other. Like they're not going to own a flour mill when they're a wheat farmer. They'll sell that to a flour mill to turn into flour, but the economy in this game seems to work so much better when you can do both. And it's just fun, like just kind of reflecting on that as I'm doing this plowing job. And it's flying by with speed override at 14. Let's get it done. You know, sad to see the green beans go, but we need our crop type in here, and they weren't too established, and I think it'll be just fine. But we'll get the soil samples next. I am going to just purchase them instead of scanning this entire field. I think that would be the most wise thing to do. But the next thing we got to get set up is the spreader. Get some lime in it, see what we have in stock. We might have to buy some more for these two fields, but them's the plans. Get that done, and then we can get to planting. All right, let's close the loop on this rolling before we get to the lime session here. Gosh, I don't even remember buying this thing. It's been a little bit of time here, so we want to go ahead and unfold this. And I don't want to lose the growth stage, and I know that's how it used to work, so I don't know if it does anymore. But we look here, nitrogen's looking good. It still says it needs rolled. It's at growth stage 2 of 4 already. Let's get this lowered and see what it does. I just don't think it's doing anything. Now, if we have to turn the roller on, that makes no sense. They are lowered. Yeah, I'm just gonna sell this. So, selling it, we'll get about $13,000 back. And getting the soil purchase is gonna cost us $3,700. Looks like a lot of silty clay. It's all right, we'll be fine. And the pH is in a decent spot, but I think we can get it a little bit better. And we're gonna use the lime that we have before we buy more. We're gonna go to the field, the closest field that we've had for a while. We'll do that one first, and then we'll get on to the new one. That's the point where I think we'll probably have to purchase some more. Gosh, I just love the change here. It looks great. All right, what is happening? Whoops, I know we're not in the vicinity enough, so I think this might be struggling to run. So let's double check what's going on here. Let's hop in the truck. 76%. Let's get this filled up, get this activated again, and let them go on their way before we leave the vicinity. Let's check that production right now. So over here we have 35,000 stone, 11,000 wood, 11,000 wood. So we'll have to do a little more lumber before we make it June and get a couple more of these stone runs going. But it's still 9 o'clock. We got plenty of time to finish everything we need to today. All right, they are on their way, and we can head back out to the field now. Yeah, so I think I do want to widen this a little bit. We'll take another layer of trees down, and those are the ones I'll start working on next for the sawmill, because we keep running into things going down this path, and I think it'll still work out and look awesome long term. Let's go ahead and lock into place and get it activated. That working width is pretty good. See the adjustment on the chart there. I don't see much getting adjusted. So I think we did this field already. Slow your roll. Yeah, it's good here. All right, that one's good. Let's just head on to the new one. Once we get this new one spread, we can get to planting. We took care of that in the winter, that's right. But same thing here. Get to cruising. Struggling to get up to speed because of the plowed state, but it's gonna handle it just fine. Lime is dropping fast. We probably get some delivered to this site, but the green color we're getting over here is looking good because of the silty clay. We are going to use a lot more lime, so we're going to have to get this thing filled up probably multiple times. We're using 5.26 tons per hectare right now. Yeah, it's going to burn right through it. I'll see you when we're done. Okay, finally going to get to planting the sorghum, and we'll see if this is enough fertilizer. That lower, get it activated. Lock it in. And just start cruising. Great working with on this. I think this is a wise decision. Kind of matches what we have with the cedar as far as size goes. Turning the nitrogen to yellow for sorghum. Hopefully that's good enough. It does recognize sorghum as the automatic level. Turning a little bit green here, so that's going to be based on soil type. In sandy loam right now, we're doing about 400 kilograms per hectare of fertilizer. All right, this field shouldn't take long. The other one will be a little bit more of a chore. Let's get them done. All right, seems like we're a little underpowered. Let's take a look at a few things here. Right now, the 7R has 352 horsepower, which we could upgrade to 388. I think we are gonna do that. Let's go ahead and detach here. Let's head into our workshop, and we should be able to do this ourselves at home, do this upgrade. And we have the money for it. I think it's time. All right, taking a look in here, we're gonna go ahead and update this to the 7R 350, which will give us 388 horsepower and a $39,000 upgrade. I think we'll also add the Icera Pro Compact here and see if that gives us a little better results when it comes to applying lime and fertilizer, or applying fertilizer and seed, I guess, with this one. And I am going to elect to leave the front loader detached for now. We'll just leave that in the garage. All right, let's get back to planting. See if this made an improvement. Oh, you know what? Let's do maintenance on this while we're here too. It's gonna be about $7 grand to repair it. Much needed though. All right, let's see how much this improves. We were going about 5, and if we still go 5, that just tells us it is what it is. Like, I don't think that's max speed on this. Let's do speed override and just kind of see. So that is enabled now. So it's just kind of gonna struggle a little bit with this planter. It's not uphill. Interesting. All right, it is what it is. We'll have to upgrade again at some point to a bigger, large tractor. Just gonna take a little bit longer to plant than normal. Yeah, it does seem like the plowed state's what's causing us to struggle a little bit. So maybe we need some better tires, a tractor with some wider tires to handle that a little better. But first sorghum field is done. Time to head on over to our new field and get it planted as well. The sorghum planting session here on our new field has started. Going 10 miles an hour. We are able to get up a little bit more speed on this field. It looks like this is slightly downhill. But yeah, top of mind is now an upgraded tractor. And it makes sense. You know, we talked a while ago about upgrading the equipment before expanding, and my patience level and enjoyment level, I wanted to expand. I didn't want to just do a couple fields. So I think this makes a lot more sense for the series. But yeah, that's definitely the next thing in mind before we buy another field, is going to be upgrading this equipment. And the way we're making money right now, we should be able to do that this calendar year. And the glorious last pass here, 7 miles an hour. We did put a bid in to the broker, spent about $2,500 to see if we could get a tractor. So we'll see if that does show up in the used market between now and June. I did a 1-month search, and we have enough money now. If it came in at a decent, even if it's like 30% off, we should have enough money for it. So we're gonna get this finished, and the last thing we're gonna do today is a little bit of work on the production yard. I wanna start working on expanding that a little bit to get prepared. You can see in the background, you know, we do have chickens and cows coming soon, and we're gonna do dairy cattle, which is gonna lead us to our next production, which is gonna be a dairy. So I do want to find the area where I want to start clearing out some trees for that. And that will feed the sawmill as well. But let's get this equipment put away and we'll get right into that. And long term, what I'm wanting to do is this area here will be for our farming equipment. And the yard, the original yard back there, will be for everything to help run the productions. So over time, we will start adjusting, you know, what's stored where. And I think we're gonna probably have to get bigger sheds because some of our equipment's just not gonna fit in these short ones here. Though let's get this open. I think this one will fit fine. The plow is the concern. I don't think that'll go in there. But you see we do have the Icera Pro in there already. Starting to just slowly put some equipment over here. And I think putting the planter right now makes sense. And there's the grass field coming in nice. Let's get it straightened a little bit and then we should be able to just cruise back. Lost it a little bit there. There we go. Let's go into cab view. Turn our head around here. Yeah, we don't want to lose it that much. There we go. And that should be good right there. And it does look like we're just about caught up on stone again, which is lovely. So let's head over here and see if there's gonna be room. And I think there will be right here. So I did talk about widening that path over there. We will do that with time, but I think this area we're gonna start prepping, start getting the trees chopped down. Like so. All right, so we cleared a good amount of area here, but now that I'm looking at it, I was hoping we could keep these trees. The silo might get relocated to what we're talking about being the long-term farming area, but let's grab the dairy we're gonna want. We're not gonna build it right now. We're just gonna kind of get an idea of size here. So if the silo wasn't there, we definitely could fit it nicely right here. And if the silo stays, yeah, that'd be tough because we could get the product dropped off in the back, drop off the milk and whatever else we need in there, and then pick up the product in the front. So we would need to add an entire road, which would be very doable and make sense on the back side of here to connect up to this path to make a loop. So I think that's looking good. There's one other thing that I do want to do today before we close off this, but let's go ahead and level this first. And that tree's, you know, definitely gonna have to go long term, but I think that's looking good. All right, let's hop in. The magical guy here. We need to change a setting here. Machine settings, I think is what I want. And if we go to this right here, I want to, oh, look at all these options. Awesome, so we wanna go with the gravel. And we are role-playing that we're getting it out of this facility here that we're near, but I'm not seeing it. There we go, that should work. And let's head on over and see how that looks. All right, we should be good to now just kind of cruise forward and get this gravel laid out. And just gives us a good idea of, you know, where we're gonna start putting things. Go probably to about this fence line for now, like that. Turn back around, get it lowered. All right, let's get this finished. I'm really liking the look of this here. So I think what I want to do is kind of line up this way next and redo the front of the shed here and just kind of go straight and show that there is a difference between the road and the rest of the gravel. Yeah, and I think that mixes it up nice. Let's get this out of the way and we'll take a look from the sky and see how we feel about that. Yeah, I think, you know, maybe doing the opposite would have been better, but I think this is gonna work out nice. But I do wanna do one more thing here. I do wanna add some meadow. Get this looking a little bit more finished on the back side of this fence here. Oh, that looks so much more finished. Look at that. Nice. Got some bushes, some shrubs in here. Got this new area prepped. And we'll figure out if we have to extend farther back later on, but I think that is a good place to wrap it up today. Well, it's July on the SWU Farms Rags to Riches playthrough, and the grass is ready to be cut for the first time. We got a lot of equipment to buy. You can see our balance is at 444,000. The productions have done really good over the last few months while we've been just kind of waiting for things to grow. Sorghum is looking great out there, and then farther over there, we can't really see it. There it is. You can kind of see the canola in the distance. August, the canola will be ready. A couple more months yet before the sorghum's ready. So our main focus today is definitely going to be on getting some hay if the weather will cooperate. So we've been dropped off at the River Bend Auto Repair. They're going to be very pleased with us. We're going to spend a whole lot of money right now. And in a long overdue purchase, we are going to get a semi finally. We're going to get the Black Anthem 6x4. And the first trailer we're going to go with, let's see the two designs here. I don't see a difference. I do. I actually kind of want yes, I want all four of the ramps there. So we're going to buy this for $61,000. And we're going to sell our starter baler. It's gone. Now those are really just necessities that we needed so far. We've got a lot more to buy for today. Long term, we'll probably have something different, but we're going to go with this Vermeer mower right now for $49,500. And we're going to need a tedder. So we're going to go big with the Pottinger. This one is 17 meters wide for $44,000. And then we're going to go big with another Pottinger to row it up for $94,650, getting this rake here. And I think that's everything that we're going to need today. Well, it's not. We need one more piece of equipment, but we overspent. But most likely it won't be till tomorrow when we need the baler. So we're going to go ahead. I guess I did that, didn't I? And get these all loaded up and get them home. And I kind of underestimated the size of some of these things. So we're just going to take what we need first home and really hope this rain clears up because we're going to need that grass to dry out a little bit before we cut it. But let's head home with our new equipment, our new truck. Should be good. This is definitely one of those roads where you're giving directions and you're told if you get to the tree on the left, you've gone too far. Let's go ahead and turn here. A little too quick on the turn. But the skinny little access road is what takes us back to the new property. And there it is. I don't think we've officially come in this way yet, have we? Looks like this is where we're storing seed for now. We are going to get some containers over here long term to store stuff like that. Well, let's get these ramps unfolded and shut the truck off for now. I am going to get the mower off of there, but we're probably going to have to relax a little bit till this storm passes. Another tractor is definitely in the books for us. We definitely talked about that, and it is needed. This equipment I felt was a little more important than buying a new machine, but we are keeping an eye on the used market to see if anything good pops up and hoping to, get some more income coming in, and we will. That's a little test right there. I didn't realize I left that, but this is a little test. This is where the manure pit's going to go. We are going to have to get the equipment over here to kind of dig this out and flatten it a little bit. And I think we'll end up having like a retaining wall over here. I think is the best place. I was looking for the best spot for a manure pit, and I think that's going to be it. But back to the task at hand. Let's get this unloaded and we can get all prepped and just... I guess we're going to take a nice morning breakfast break before we get started on cutting this grass, but this will be pretty good. There's an area over here that I think would be good. Yeah, I can just open it up right around here. I think this is it right like so. All right, that's going to work nice. Search successful. Yeah, I did put a bid in for this JCB fast track, but we don't have enough money for it yet. We need, oh man. We need to get sidetracked today just so we can get this. 306 horsepower, but we could upgrade it to 400 horsepower by adding in the chip to it for $5,000. How are we gonna pull that off? So let's get back in here. Hopefully that'll be around for a little bit, but I think we need to potentially see if there's anyone who needs some contracts around here. This is gonna be perfect though. So let's go ahead and just park the John Deere here for now. And I'm gonna figure out a way to make that money and get a baler in the next, gosh, month or so. Well, one of the ways we're going to get really close to that dollar amount is selling all of the wood chips that we've generated over the last few months. Prices are still pretty good, so we're going to head on over to the farmer's market. We're going to see how it treats us today, and hopefully that puts us pretty close to where we need to be. There is still so much equipment that I'm looking to buy before this series is over. We're going to look like a real farm. We're going to look like we have the right equipment. And that's the plans. And if I remember right, it goes back over here. And selling the wood chips, going to make a decent amount of money. We want to see this up around 114. I don't think it's going to quite get that high for us, but I think this is going to bring in about $40,000. Yeah, 43,000 plus 1,700 for the environmental score. There's a couple contracts I was interested in that I think will push us over the edge. And I felt like those were ones that we could do while the weather is like this. So let's go home. We're gonna use our own equipment for it. I'm gonna get that prepped, and I'll see you there. Something about this field doesn't like going this direction. I'm sure you saw that in the time lapse, but it seems like it's okay on this pass. But just about done here, 92% complete. I don't know where the other 6% is, but we'll zoom around and try to find the other now 2% now. See a few. Okay, I do. There's a whole nother pass right there that we needed to get. Wasting some herbicide right now, but that'll be okay. Just cruise on top of these. And there we go. Let's fold her up and get her home. And I did get dropped off at the dealership. Let's go ahead and turn in those contracts. Farmland 30 is going to bring in $16,000. And Farmland 33 is going to bring in $5,200. We're at 129. Let's go ahead and grab this deal before it disappears. And can we afford to upgrade? We can. So we're going to have a 400 horsepower tractor on the farm now. Trying to, you know, mix up the tractor types we purchase. I think this is a wise decision. I do want to see what maintenance cost is right now, what the maintenance cost is before we head home. We'll probably grab the tedder with us as well. Let's take a look. 9,000. So we're going to hold off on that. We did just tick over another hour. We do have $16,000, but we got some other things we got to worry about buying first, because tedding this up and raking it up isn't going to do us anything if we have no way to bale it. What a joy to drive, peaking at 45 miles an hour. I definitely think this was a wise purchase. Spent a lot of money today. Got a lot of new equipment. This is exciting. I can't wait to use it all. Got to get organized out here too. Boy, mess. All right, well, I think enough time has passed. The grass should be in pretty good condition to get mowed now. And away we go. First time cutting grass on our new field here. Pretty exciting times. 14 miles an hour, that is not bad. Be super excited to see how much hay we get out of this. I don't know how many times a year we're gonna have to cut this. Another thing that we're wanting to buy is a trailer to pick up a bunch of cattle. So we're gonna need to save money for that before we get them here. And I was kind of debating, you know, once we do have hay, it wouldn't really hurt to buy them. But boy, this is a big field, and we're gonna be getting some bigger equipment to help us with this long term. But until that time comes, this mower is gonna have to work. And just finishing going around the field 3 times here to do the headlands. This is going to be quite the day to get this done. And this is definitely going to be something that we do as needed. We're not going to be cutting this every, 2 or 3 months like we could. If we're in a pinch for money, if we're in a pinch for feed, we'll definitely be mowing, but it's quite a job, especially when we're making hay out of it, with it being a 4-step process, this big of a field. It's just you can only do it when it really feels worth it to the farm, and that's the plan. But starting the ups and downs here. I know the best way to do this is to avoid and flipping this thing around to the other side, but I don't know if I remember or know how to do that. Oh, I think I do see how. I think it's super easy on controller. We're gonna give it a shot here. So when we turn around, let's slow down. We just do one of these, and then we loop back around. We should jump to... it doesn't line up perfect. Doesn't line up perfect. So we will just keep it on this side, because now if I come over here, it'll line up with what we did. Okay, that's interesting. All right, we're gonna drive on top of the fresh grass, or the uncut grass, and knock it down, so we're not gonna cut as much, but that's what we're gonna do. It seems big at the beginning, and it is a good sized field, but once you get going, it just feels like it flies by. So we're almost done here, a couple more passes. And we're gonna have to let this sit for at least a night, let it dry out a little bit, and then we're gonna ted it just in case there was too much rain going on, and if we get rain overnight. But in August, we'll go start getting this tedded up, rode up, and we're gonna have to figure out that baler solution. Should start folding up here. We'll find a place to start storing this. I think it'll be the shed right in front of us. And I think we'll put all of our hay equipment in this one. That side open, get this side open. Should be good. I think I'll start with this one as far to my current left as possible. So we'll wiggle it, yep, that way a little bit. And I think that will do. Plenty of room for lots of equipment in this one, actually. So now it's time to just kind of relax. And we'll get a chance to use the JCB in the morning to do some tedding. $136,000 to work with. I think we're gonna need a couple more hours of income from the sawmills But we got some work to do before we worry about that. Man, the working width on this is gonna be lovely. And here we go, turning over the grass. Getting it ready to be rowed next. Yeah, the working width definitely is what we were looking at in this one. The windrower's even bigger. That's exciting. But let's get this done one step at a time. We'll have to go get the windrower next and possibly purchase that baler at the same time. Boy, this is gonna be a ton of hay. I think we did wise with the field selection here. We're not gonna have to do, you know, we're gonna do another one to make silage in a couple months, but that'll be a quicker process. We'll be able to do just 2 steps really, and we're gonna need to get a forage wagon for then because we're gonna put it in the pit. We're not gonna do silage bales. We're gonna do fermenting in the silage bunker. But that's a problem for another day. Let's get this done. Yeah, quite a field of hay. I'm excited to see how long this is gonna last us. We are gonna try to fill up with the maximum amount of cattle. Money's gonna dictate that when the time comes. We're not gonna be able to afford that today because the baler is definitely more important. We also have a harvest to get to in August and all the harvests. But after that, we'll definitely be getting a trailer to pick up the cattle and get them in there. And I think starting with just hay is going to be just fine. By the end of the year, they should have a better quality of food, but we don't have any way of making straw this year. So we'll have to keep that in mind when we pick our crop types next time around. And also once we get to that harvest directly in front of us, we'll be getting some chickens. So livestock coming soon. And we'll do the opposite with this one. We're going to try to get it over in the other corner and we'll put the windrower in the middle if my skills will allow for that. Yeah, it looks like that's going to fit perfect right there. Lots of room. Deja vu. All right, we're going to have a helper do the rowing for us while we head to the dealership and see about getting a baler. And we're going to take the fast track with us so we can get there as fast as possible. Nothing in the used market. We're a little bit short on cash here. So we might be waiting a little bit for the baler. About 20,000 away, 23,000 away it looks like. And we got a little bit here. Let's go ahead and see what we got. 5,400 and then loop around to the other one. So almost 11,000 liters. Let's go sell this. The price is still good on wood chips here. We'll see how close that gets us. And you know, for good measure, let's go ahead and put this back here. I think there is 1 or 2 more over here. There's one here. Oh, come on, pick it up higher. There we go. And I thought, yep, there's one more here, and then there's that big one on the road that we saw. Did I just run over another one too? I did. So a little bit more cash here. Not sure how much this will bring in, but we're gonna need it all. They're in there somewhere. And the mystery bale as well is gonna go with us. We'll get that picked up as well. Oh, that's not how you get out of a car. Get up there, go ahead and drop it in. All right, let's head on it. Let's head back to the animal dealer now. And we'll see how close we get. I think it was 165 is what we're aiming for. Okay, let's drop the wood chips first. $17,000 there, plus the environmental score puts us at 160,000. And then can we just drive over this? Yes. Oh man, just a couple dollars short. We're gonna go hang out at the dealership with the JCB until 10 o'clock and hope that the sawmill and the rock production and the mushroom production brings in enough money. Meanwhile, we're here, I want to see if there's different tire configurations on this. Oh yeah, we can go beefy. I'm gonna want to go beefy long term with this. Gotta keep in mind $8,000, and we can do this at home. But I kind of want that setup right there. Or maybe just the wides. Let me know what you would do. All right, 3 minutes to wait. I'm just gonna go talk to these guys for a little bit. And after a nice lunch break here, we do have enough cash, so let's go ahead and get it purchased. It's a big boy. Brought a little bit more that hour, interesting. Let's just be a timing thing. We have $9,000 left over. The truck's gonna have to stay here for now. Let's get this back. They should have plenty of time now to have gotten ahead of us. Let's get home and do some baling. That's what I like to see. Yeah, they got a good jump start on us, so we might catch up still. We might not. But let's get started here. We have it set at 240 centimeters. Boy, we might have to go over this twice. This swath is so thick. Wow, I'm happy with that. Our first bale coming out there. Looking great. Square balers, I love them. And they've completed all the rowing. Let's go ahead and get this off the field so we can finish the baling. And then once we put this away, I'll give you a little update on the amount of bales. And I remembered a little bit of advice that Brody Farms gave me a long time ago. When baling and the rowing's still going, you might as well start with the ups and downs instead of the headlands. That way the bales don't get in the way of the workers, for the person doing the rowing. So I remembered that right before we started the second headland, and boy, this one's a little sensitive to back up. Let's go ahead and straighten it out now. But yeah, so we're doing the ups and downs first, even though I did the first headland going a lot smoother that way. And we gave him a good amount of a head start, which was by design there. You know, the John Deere can just stay in here for now. But yeah, definitely by design to give them a head start, and it worked out really good. And we stopped baling. But we're at 22 bales already, and I always forget if that counts the ones that have dropped yet, which I don't think it does. But you can see how much we have left. Shouldn't take too much longer. Then we need to get the bales out of the way, because we do need to treat this field to make sure we get just as good of a yield next time around. We ended up with 62 bales. Now it's time to just get them out of the way. That's some hard work. That is some hard work. And that is all the time we're going to have for today's episode. We've got 64 bales out here ready to go when the time comes to buy some cattle. We got to get a way to transport the cattle and a little bit of money to fund it. But this barn should come alive very soon. Hoping to get up to 171 cows in here long term. We won't start with that many. I don't think we'll be able to afford that. What is happening, everybody? We are back, and we are putting the lime down on the field that we just mowed last episode, getting it prepped for the next cut where we're gonna make some silage. But today, the big task at hand is gonna be a canola harvest and 2 sorghum harvests. We might actually get to the second cut of this field as well today, but that will be time permitted. Let's go ahead and bust this out, and then we need to go get some of our solid fertilizer back from the main farmyard and get the fertilizer put down as well, hoping that this is enough lime because it shouldn't have to adjust it much. We're getting 0.88 tons per hectare that we're laying down, 1.75 in some areas. But it is dropping a little quicker than I anticipated. It's gonna be close. We're gonna need more. And a little bit more lime has been delivered to get this job done. But yeah, the field behind us is gonna lead us to getting chickens today. Absolutely getting chickens today. If we have enough cash in hand to get the trailer for the cattle, we're gonna get them purchased as well. Extra revenue stream's gonna start with some milk and eggs. Long term, we will get a dairy purchase so that we can turn the eggs and milk into other products. And there might be some other things that we have to purchase along the way to kind of make that so. But I think I'm gonna turn off guidelines and just do this myself here. There seems to be a decent amount of wasting going on no matter how I set up this implement. But let's go ahead and get this done so we can get to those most important harvests. It's already 2 o'clock and we've got to get one of those harvests done today. So that might be going into the nighttime, but we can handle it. We got lights, we got good lights on our equipment. And I think the next phase, other than livestock, is really going to be figuring out that long-term plan for our house and finishing up some of the production yard areas. I do still have some plans to grow a greenhouse area. We do just have the one mushroom greenhouse right now, but I do want to get a big production going of that. And there's an area I have kind of slated in my mind. Lots of trees to clear, and we're going to need to clear a bunch of trees for the sawmill anyways. Been doing a lot of that work off camera. I find that after, months of doing lumber work, there's really no reason to show it anymore. At least that's my philosophy. But let's get this done. We'll get the fertilizer going, and then we can get to those big harvests. And we did miss a whole pass back there of picking up hay, but I think we have enough. It'll be fine. I realized that when we were picking up the bales last episode. Silly mistake. And liming has concluded. So we are going to start storing everything up here. I do need to get a few more sheds and maybe some racks. I kind of want the distribution units. I don't know what they're called, but they're kind of like the one on the chicken coop there. So where we can store lime, fertilizer, seed, all types of things. So we'll just drop the lime right there for now. And we'll head in, I believe in the big shed, we have a bunch of fertilizer, so we shouldn't have an expense on that today. Yeah, we got a decent amount back there. We'll just have to sneak in to get it loaded up. And we should just see the white go away, make it real easy to figure out where we need to put fertilizer down. Only using, well, it's going to vary because we have different soil types, but approximately 200 kilograms per hectare here. Not too bad. Try not to waste too much by going too far to the left there, but let's get her done. Really itching to get to those harvests. And all done with plenty left over. We're just going to store this over here. Majority of our fields long term are going to be in this area. We just need a little bit more money. We need about $3 million, I think, to get the fields that I still need. Not too bad. All right, about to lose our header here, but we're heading out to get started for the harvest. Got our grain car following us, getting prepped to unload the harvester when it's ready. We got to find a good place to drop this header trailer though, and I think I see one right now. The header will just hold on a little bit longer. There we go, that should work. And we'll just get the header all hooked up here, get ready to harvest our canola. Perfect. What a beast. Let's go ahead and get in the field here. And away we go on this harvest. The yield is not looking good at all right now. Only 5.2 tons per hectare, 75% yield bonus. We're gonna have to figure out what we did wrong. But looking good. Picking up this canola real nice, 10% full already. Yield is improving. It looks like there was just that little area that was really rough there at the beginning. We're up to 96% now. 6.8 around tons per hectare. I think it's time just to get focused here and see how much money canola brings in. And finishing the first headland, well, not quite yet, but we are full here in the harvester. Got 11,000 liters almost, 10,600 just about there. And we got to just wait for them to call for the call because we didn't do that. Here they come. Yeah, it looks like everywhere with loamy sand is gonna be down around that 50% yield. Maybe it's 75%, not too terrible, but would like to see a much better yield on this field. And we'll make sure we treat it as good as we can moving forward. Like, I think the only thing we could have really done to help that was mulch. Yeah, because nitrogen's good. Not as good as it could have been. So nitrogen could have been a little bit higher on this field. All right, back at it. Let's get her done. Okie dokie. Got a bully grain cart driver. I gotta figure out the settings I have wrong today. It's been working great on other series, so I think it just has some setting changes there. So we'll finish this pass. I'll get that sorted out. But this is the only field that's really gonna bring us income. Everything else is gonna be saved for chicken feed. So, you know, this good thing we have the sawmills and everything else that helps us produce money. Otherwise, we'd be going broke real quick. All right, we'll get them to unload us, and I'm gonna take a look at these settings. Third time getting unloaded here. So it should be around 30,000 liters of canola so far. Look at that, perfect distance away from the header. Beautiful. We're at 27,000 liters. And waiting for the grain cart to come back. We should see them in the distance in the trees here coming around the corner right now. They just dropped off a load at the silo. There they are. Should be a pretty good payday. Looking at canola here, already 59,000 in there, and it is above peak price right now, so we will be selling that today. And finishing up the harvest here so we can get those sold. We need to start getting this field flipped because I do want to get a crop put in here. Probably wheat or barley so we can get some straw going. So that'll be the next thing on the agenda here in August. We're gonna start getting this field flipped. And let's just finish this and recall them to get it completely unloaded. Lovely. Another 10,000 gonna be in here, a little bit more than that when it's all said and done. All right, 11,000, almost 12,000 more. We're just gonna put this over by the header trailer. We're gonna do this small field first in September, so we'll just keep this out here for that. All right, we got an employee hopefully selling the canola for us. We're gonna get set up on the JCB and the plow and get that field prepped. Then we'll wanna do some lime on it after that. And just open it up to take a look at where our worker is. I just don't think the render distance is far enough for us to see them, but there they are. They just came into render there. So they're gonna go get as much as they can out of the silo. They're gonna take it to the grain elevator, get it sold. And we'll let you know when the dollar amount goes up if all is functioning well in that auto drive setup. But I wanted to get a little bit more time in the JCB here. Go lowered and just cruise around here, get this plowed. Beautiful working with. No complaints here at all. We are starting to lose a little bit of daylight here in August. It's getting close to setting, but we'll try to get this prepped to be able to get planted as soon as possible. And reminding myself it is September when we'll want to get barley in the ground. It can do September or October. And we have a little bit of an issue, it looks like, with our course. It's called a mailbox. It's called a mailbox, huh? Is that something we can remove? Doesn't look like it. Demolish? No. Okay. So let's go ahead and debug this a little bit. Sharp turn. So what I want to do is pull this over a little bit more. There shouldn't be very many opportunities for these things to run into each other, but let's go ahead and pull this one back. We'll pull that back like that. Give them a little bit more room, and then we're gonna cheese this a little bit here. Oh, where are you going? Oh, they're gonna hit it again. They're supposed to avoid collisions, but they don't seem to be doing very good. All right, so that's a little bit wider. And that should work. All right, so now they're heading there. Looks like, well, maybe we should have had them use the truck for this, but that's okay. They're gonna get there. We're gonna continue on with plowing. And we'll see when that dollar amount goes up. And let's see the beauty here. Now, there was a little bit of an issue where I had to, oh, they're struggling. They're not liking this ramp. But I had to move over to the auto drive that was pre-configured, and we got it far enough over. Perfect. So now they should just cruise in here. 28,000, they'll have a little bit more to go back and get. Once they get to the trigger, they should start unloading. Money's going up perfectly. Yeah, little collisions in here, but nothing we can really do about that. Will they be able to recover is the question. I don't think they're gonna. Well, that's annoying. Look at that, they fixed it. Awesome. So they will have one more trip to do, and we will continue focusing on plowing. And done with plowing. So I want to take a look at the precision farming data and see if it'll help us figure out how much lime we're gonna need. So let's head on back. And I think we are gonna do the tire upgrade that I was talking about as well before we plant in this field. Got a little bit of lime delivered so that we are sure we have enough. And I think it will be enough, but I was gonna look at the data and see before I bought that. I've totally forgot already. Will it tell us? Lime, 18,000. That's gotta be over multiple sessions since last reset. So I think what we'll do is we'll reset it now. So we have the total values and then we have the reset. So after doing it this time, we should get a good number of what we're doing to maintain it, because the totals are gonna include every single time that we've ever put lime down. Pretty cool. And I guess we can fit here with most things, so we should do this instead of driving through the field. It's just, can we maneuver through the woods? But maybe we should start clearing some space up here to allow this to work a little easier. And before we get started, let's go ahead and take a peek at our worker and make sure they're not stuck again. Oh, so they're set to wait till this fills up. So if we come in here, if silo empty, drive on, apply. All right, let's watch. I was kind of confused on the route they went last time, so I want to just kind of watch this. And I think they should be able to just go straight. Yeah, I don't know why they did that. So if they go out here and turn and go to the long route, that's interesting. They should be able to just take a left and go to the main road. And here they go. They did pick the right route, but did they take a left here instead of just going right? Interesting. All right, something to fix there. Let's grab this node here and go like that and see. Yeah, they'll cut across like that, which should be fine. They're heading to the grain elevator. All right. A lot of auto drive on this channel. And away we go. I'm going to do this myself as well. I'll see you on the other side. We just got 25,000 in harvest income. And an hour ticked over. So we're sitting at 142,000. We should be able to afford the trailer for the cattle now. We'll take a look at that in September. All right, let's see if the data shows up instantly. That's not bad. 2,400 liters used of lime. Well, we're currently waiting out a little bit of a early winter snowstorm, but you can see where we took down the trees to start, repopulating the sawmill, and as well as clearing this for a little path here. And I think we're going to come up to about these ones will be probably the next ones we cut down, these two here. Which, gosh, that's going to be enough for a month and a half there. And this, yeah, between those two, we can get about 2 months worth of one of the sawmills going. But yeah, right here, and then we'll start working that way. Should be awesome. So 2 sorghum harvests to do. We can see our workers coming up right there. We are going to set this one up on course play. And I think what I'm gonna do is just get out of their way. We'll see how that goes, but we are going to prioritize planting this field while that harvest goes on, and then we're gonna do the other sorghum harvest ourselves. And that, I'm guessing, is gonna be done way before we're done planting here. I decided to do wheat. It'll generate plenty of straw for us. And away we go, getting wheat in the ground. Oh, you know what? We can't do that harvest yet. We're getting a yield loss, aren't we? I mean, it doesn't say we're getting a yield loss. It is what it is. We'll just let it keep going, and it should be cleared up by the time we get the big field harvested, which is really the important one for the chicken feed. Forgot to reconfigure the tires. We can do that later on. It seems like it's handling this plowed state just fine with the JCB compared to how the John Deere handled it last time, but you can see they're already going to get unloaded. That's a good sign. I think we can get this done quicker with the wide tires. Let's go get them. Yeah, just struggling to get up to speed in this plowed field. They're almost done with that harvest already. Beautiful. And like I said, we can do this ourselves. Gonna come in here, and I am gonna go with the twin setup for $8,000. And I also, where'd it go? It disappeared. There it is. All right, let's go ahead and get the $11,000 repair done. Cost us $3,000 more since we didn't do it earlier, but that's all right. Oh, this is a beast now. Let's see how it handles it. How much better is it gonna be? They're blocked by an object. I'm gonna see if they can figure it out on their own. We need to focus on this. Worst case, we finish that harvest ourselves. All right, let's get this activated again, and away we go. And it doesn't seem to help much. Maybe because these aren't wide tires. Let me know, guys. This seemed like it should have been able to get through this a little bit better, but maybe we need tracks. Oh, I was being silly. A speed override wasn't on. It is handling it better. Beautiful. 8 o'clock hour, the snow has cleared up, and it looks like they have finished the harvest, so they should just be calling to get unloaded. And boy, the turning radius is not as good as it once was on this thing, but that's all right. We'll start doing every other row here now that we're doing the ups and downs. Just be able to get this done momentarily. Just pretty quick job here. Now, the positive side of doing wheat here is that it'll work for feed for the chickens as well, because we are going to buy as much or as many chickens as the money will allow here momentarily. Yeah, this turning radius is just not ideal anymore. Let's go ahead and lift that up, back it up. So I think what I'm going to try to do is the setup with the 2 back tires and the 1 front tire and see if that helps with the turning radius a little bit. But last pass here. Lots of fog this morning. Sun is rising. Looking great. Can't wait to get to that bigger harvest. And the last little speck here, we're gonna go ahead and lower and take care of that. And heading back, let's go ahead and test out this route and see if we did set up that turn exactly where we want it. So we're coming in here, cruising through. And if we turn right there, let's go ahead and turn to this mode. And then we'll have some more trees there to clear. And then we'll wind this back and lead right to that path. Absolutely. It seems like it's going to be wide enough for this as well. It's just cruising through here. We need to clean this. It's getting filthy. We're just gonna have a worker take care of this job for us though, and away they go. 12,000 liters. We're gonna take this over, see how much of it fits in the chicken coop, and buy some chickens. Okay, let's go ahead and cruise up here and see if it'll let us tip this. I did see it. It flashed for a second to tip grain door, and it liked it. Okay, we can handle that. See how much this is gonna take here. I'm hoping this thing can hold all of this so we don't have to come over here very often. And it looks like that might be the case. So we have 3,400 left and 9,000 in here. Let's go ahead and Let's get some purchased. I want to go with the 6-month-old ones. And if we did 200, how many hold in here? 360. 13,000 bucks. Yeah, we can afford it. We're going to start with 250 chickens. There they are. Eggs should be produced pretty quickly here. But let's go ahead and get this started. Get them in place for this next harvest. And we got to get the harvester on over there and get going. It looks like they're almost done with the fertilizer here. Getting the wheat field all prepped for next summer's harvest. All right, I'll see you at field 24. And get this straight here. Should be a good place to configure this and set it all up. And I think what we'll do is, let's go ahead and lower that now. We're gonna just kind of get into the field here. Get a little of this cut. And then that should allow me to back up and start going on the headland this direction. Like so. And it seems like one headland will be enough for this, since our turnarounds will be, well, there's a fence on that side. Let's go ahead and set that up for 2. And I think that will take care of the issues. But first time harvesting this, we're getting 95% right now, 13.2 tons per hectare. So a lot better than what we were getting. Oh, we didn't even take a look at the other one, but a lot better than what we were getting on canola, for sure. But it's gonna be a little bit of a harvest here. This is our biggest field, first time harvesting it. And by the time we get the other 2 fields I'm eyeing in this area, this will be our smallest. Besides the grass field and the custom fields, you know what I mean. Getting 121% yield bonus here. We're gonna do what the workers do. And I'm gonna cut into the field a little bit here so that they have room to unload us. And that should work. 100% full. Let's give them a call. This is going to be a good... We're going to have a lot of sorghum. A lot. We might sell some. Now, will they get out of my way? I put the pipe away. Hello, I'm going to need you to move. Perfect. And back to harvesting. Lovely configuration. Besides them driving in the field, which they're supposed to avoid, they do what they want. Oh boy, what a harvest this is going to be. We're already full. We're not even one time around the headland unloading a second time, so bigger equipment's going to be needed, you know, to be able to fill up a little bit more in the harvester before needing to get unloaded would be ideal. And auger wagons in a truck is the long-term plan, but I mean, we could probably afford that now. And I think they're already going to head back to empty the grain cart, so we might be making an upgrade here just to make this harvest easier. It might be time to do that. I'm going to get this to where it's full again, and then we're going to look into that. When we spent all the money we wanted on chickens, we know we'll get more money coming in next month for cows. That's going to be next episode. But I think we might improve this harvest setup here momentarily. I always wanted to know if it would work with 2 of these, so I'm going ahead and bought another one of those trailers that we have, and if we go about right here, we should be able to set this up. We'll see how this works. Just don't know if they're going to fight, and if this works out good, having 2 of them, we can hold off on getting the semi set up until we're ready to get a couple auger wagons and a couple semis going, which would be awesome. But that one should go. Realize it's kind of waiting for this one to do its job, and they should start taking turns, and then we don't have to wait while they're unloading at the silo because we'll have 2 of them running. If this works the way I think it does, they should work in tandem together. All right, and away we go back to harvesting. Bigger setups, I love it. We're gonna get even bigger on all these series we're running right now. So here we'll see which one gets called. It should be the one in the field already. Here they come. Awesome. And unloading on the go. Glorious thing. They're 75% full. This is going to get pretty much to the top, I think. And they'll have to go in, so then the next time we get unloaded should be the JCB. This should be how this works. Getting to the end here, they're, you know, almost 100% full, but they either way, once we close the pipe here. They should continue on and go unload that. Let's get back into this field correctly. Oh, we missed a little bit. Let's get the, we can get that on our up and down. And there they go. So by the time we need to get unloaded, they won't be back yet. And the JCB will be to the rescue. All right, let's see what happens here. JCB is moving. Unbelievable. This is so cool. But we have a tire issue. Oh, I didn't think about that part. We're gonna have to reconfigure that. All right, let's stop. Raise the header. And they'll just get a little bit past us. Yeah, we got to get that fixed. This will work perfect. So we're going to pause. We're going to cruise in real quick, get this changed out. Probably drop the sorghum off that we have, but this process is going to be sweet, guys. We're going to tip this in here for now, though it needs to be closer to the chickens. We will solve that problem later on. But yeah, the turning radius is not good with this tire setup, so it's not going to work for running a grain cart at all. But it'll be free to make this change. And they should be heading back now. Gonna cross paths with the other grain cart, which I kind of want to see. Now let's double check this. There should be, yeah, there's 2 lanes. They're good. They are good. Let's get back to the harvest. And finally back at it. Ups and downs, all we got left. 2 grain carts running. Beautiful thing. All right, we should be in a good setup now to just finish this harvest. Now you guys are gonna have to remind me, did something change in FS25 where it's not telling me that I'm losing yield when it's snowing? Or do I have a setting shut off? Like, you can see crop destruction, or not, or weather destruction, whatever it's called in this game, is working by that patch right there. So maybe it just gets a yield decrease and doesn't give you a warning anymore? I'm confused. I'm also confused why it's snowing in September, but we're fighting through it. Just one more pass to do after we get unloaded here. Pretty solid harvest. I can't wait to see how much sorghum this brought in. We are hopefully gonna leave one of these and not put it in the silo so it can just hang out by the chicken coop. But this is definitely going to fill up the JCB, and they're going to head to the silo here right now. And away they go. It's starting to come down pretty hard. Good thing this is the last pass. It's going to get close to filling up this grain cart as well. Great harvest. We need bigger equipment. We do know that. Seems to be a trend right now in my life. But we have the means in this series to get there pretty quick. And the grain cart filled up, so we're gonna have a little bit in here that I'm just gonna take close to where the JCB is and just unload it myself. Beautiful, beautiful process. Harvest complete. Handling it real well. So if we hop out here now, with the other one coming with a full load, we've got well over 100,000 liters in sorghum. We'll go a couple days, or a couple months. We'll at least do a full month on feed and see how much we need per month for the chickens. And then we'll be able to make a decision on what we're gonna sell here, because we got another 20-some thousand coming over. So the ideal setup's gonna be 2 semis that we can unload auger wagons to and have multiple auger wagons operating and unloading to multiple semis. And the semis going back and forth and the auger wagons never leaving the field. You could probably get away with just 1 at that point as well, but I think 2 would be ideal, especially once we get this field here. But once this gets back, we'll get the last little bit unloaded, top off the chickens, and see how many eggs they've produced so far. At least the snow didn't stick. Just 449 liters getting dropped off here. All right, we'll get that shut off for now. We'll come pick that up later, but I'm gonna grab this. We're gonna head over, check on them chickens. All right, we should just be able to squeeze on over here and unload this little bit that we have. And it didn't take all of it, so we're gonna write down 1512, and that's when we know it was full. And in late October, we'll come over here and see how much they used in 24 hours. But 250 chickens. Health's only up to 60. They've already produced 109 eggs. Yeah, this is gonna be a moneymaker right here. Wow. Welcome back to SWU Farms, our survival challenge, rags to riches playthrough. It is October. By the end of today's episode, we're gonna have cattle. So today we're gonna start by getting the grass cut here because we need to get some silage. And away we go. This is our second time doing a cut here. The morning fog might be a little bit in our way at this point, but I think we'll prevail. But like I said, today's episode, we are going to be completely focused on getting cattle. We have a ton of hay. We do not have straw. We can get by without straw for a little while, I think, but we definitely want silage so we can feed our cattle the best of the best. We want to make them TMR. We want to get it mixed for them. I want to start them off with TMR from day one and only feed them the best feed for our cattle. That does mean we're going to need a lot of equipment. We're going to need something to mix the TMR, so we're going to need a feed mixer. We're also going to need a forage wagon to pick up the grass after we row it up, because we are going to be putting it in the silage pit. We're not going to do bales for silage on this one. I want to do the silage pit for all of the feed, and we're not going to sell any of it. It's just going to be for the cattle, and if we get to the point where we have a ton of it, maybe we'll sell it, but really want to just cut this yard as whenever we need to produce food for the cows. So that's the plans. Hopefully this fog clears up in a little bit and we can see what we're doing better, but this big field, got to get it cut, get it rowed, and then we'll head to the store and spend a little bit of cash. Well, nothing like a good 2-hour cutting session to start the morning. We're gonna get this last pass all cut, and then we're gonna get the windrower out here. We'll get one of our helpers to take care of that portion of it for us. That turn didn't work. As we head to the store to buy a forage wagon. And I'm debating getting something to level the grass in the pit, but we might not do that. We might just use the weight of the tractor. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, next step, getting this road picked up, put into the silage pit, compressed, and then covered, and then just wait for it to turn. But in November, we're definitely getting cattle. We're gonna get the 7R hooked up on the windrower. And again, with the size of this thing, it shouldn't take them too long to get this all rowed up for us. While they take care of the rowing, we're gonna head on into town, spend some money. And looking under forage wagons here, I think we're gonna go with the biggest capacity we can find. It's gonna be this one right here. We'll add the additive, but I don't ever use it. That did burn through a lot of our money there, and we should have enough cash still for the feed mixer later on. Next month we'll definitely, because we'll have a lot more money coming in from the sawmills. And the stone crushing production, which we need to check on the capacity of that. I think I need to get that process up and running again. But let's get this home, start picking up the grass. The windrower should have a good enough head start, and start filling up that silage pit. Now backing this thing in there, it's gonna be interesting. We might need to get this hay moved, but we'll find out. Let's get this activated. Start cruising around this. Yield looks amazing too. 6%'s already just picking it up. Oh, looks like we went the wrong direction, but we'll loop back around. And we could work on picking up this little area here that they're not gonna row up as well, which will help out. We can come get that later too. But that's interesting. We'll have to see what they're doing over there. It's like they did part of a headland and then turned back around. But let's get her done. And second load going in here. Seems to be working pretty smooth so far. Just kind of letting it fill up pretty high in the back is the plan. Just kind of slowly scooting forward as it unloads. We should be able to get a ton of loads in here before we have to worry about compacting it. So that will allow us to just kind of focus on what we're doing, one task at a time. Wind rowing is going good. They're staying plenty ahead of us. Capacity is pretty good on this trailer, so I'm happy with that. But I think I am going to go to the far end of the field where they did end up turning around and finish the main headland, the complete outside headland here first, and then work our way back. And last pass here, good capacity over at that silage pit. We're not even going to come close to filling that thing up, which is kind of good to know. If we ever do need to expand and get a bigger field, we have plenty of room in the existing pit to have bigger loads in there, bigger harvests, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But you'll see when we get over there. You probably saw during a little bit of a montage as well. We're all finished here, 16,000 more to go in. And trying to really spread it out, but we'll see how long this takes to compact next. Being 13:11, that means we have to wait till around this time tomorrow before we'll be ready to use it. Let's go ahead and make sure we get far enough over here. I actually saw a different spot I want to target. So let's go a little bit farther and now start straightening her out. That should work right there. And I could just dump all of it right there, I think. All right, now let's get this out of the way, and we're gonna see if we're gonna need the leveler or if we can pull this off without it. More sheds coming. This might fit in the existing sheds though, so we'll see. Well, let's see if we can climb up here. Not bad. We are going to open up the menu so we can see the percentage. We're at 6% right now. And I'm sure we're going to get stuck at some point, but so far looking okay. %. Maybe we do want the leveler just to make our lives easier. Let's give him a call and see if we can get that ordered. Looks like we have 544,000 liters in here. Whew. All right, I might have not spread this thin enough. We'll see. And honestly, I've never used one of these levelers, so we'll see how this goes. Let's go ahead and lower it. Now, is this gonna compact it as well? Maybe I bought the wrong thing. But if we level it, we should be able to compact it easier, is kind of what I was thinking. Let's get all the way over. I think if we lift here. Oh yeah, gonna be a struggle. I mean, does this go on the front? Maybe we should try this on the front. I don't know. I don't know if it's actually doing anything on the front. Maybe it is. All right, well, we tried the leveler because it was cheaper. Doesn't seem to be helping much. So we're gonna you know, we never know when we're gonna use that, so, or need it. So let's do that. This, I am 99% sure we put this on the back here. There we go. This should be much better. I don't think it's something we have to turn on, so we're just gonna go back and forth with this now. We're at 30% compacted, so we got a ways to go. And I don't know if it's actually doing it any quicker this way, but at this point, just gonna kind of grind this out, get it done, and I'll see you when we get finished. And finally, 100% compacted. It took a little bit, not too bad. All right, so now we should just be able to blanket it. And we have just about an hour before we need to check on the chicken feed. We wanted to learn how much they go through in 24 hours, and it looks like they're gonna be just over 1,000 liters. They're at 1,200 liters that they've gone through so far. So we could do some math, build in a little bit of growth for them growing up and having babies and having more in here, because we can hold up to 360 and we have 250, but looking good. So I think we're gonna be able to sell a good majority of that sorghum this year. Getting a little jump start on our November morning here as we're waiting for the silage to ferment. We're gonna get some plowing done. We're gonna do this field and the other field that had sorghum in it earlier this year. So we're gonna get that all flipped and turned around. We might possibly do lime on it as well. We'll see what time it is when we get done plowing. We have, you know, plenty of time to get these fields prepped between now and when they need to be planted. So not too concerned about that. Just wanting to find some things to do to spend some time while we're waiting for that silage to be ready for us to get some cattle. Now, all finished with the small field. We're gonna make our way over to the big one now, get that going. Sun's coming up nicely at this point. Beautiful fall colors out here. We did clear a little bit more. I think it was just 2 more trees. So this opening, it's close. Probably spend some time this winter finishing this path and connect it to where our property ends, just kind of planning. So once we purchase these 2 fields and figure out if we can get that fence to disappear, we'll be able to get our path there. And I think we might have to live with the fence, but we'll figure it out. Should be able to enter the field right here though. And this is gonna take much longer than the last one did, but it might line us up pretty good for the silage being done close to when we finish this. And away we go. Good size field, shouldn't be too bad though with this JCB. I'm gonna get busy here and I'll see you on the other side. Well, we're a little more efficient than I was expecting here. We're finishing up this field. It is starting to snow. Not the best time of year to get some new cattle acquainted with our property, but they do have a lot of inside that they can hang out in once we get them here. We do need to take care of the grass field, make sure it's prepped for the next time we get to cut it. All kinds of soybean harvests around town that haven't been finished. There's one in the back there. Wish we had money to buy the fields from these farmers. In time. We'll get there. We had one of our farm hands go pick up a new feed mixer for us. You can see it right there in front of us. It's already prepped, ready to be filled up and mixing some TMR. Super excited about that. And we got the telehandler over here, the JCB telehandler, ready to do some good work for us as well once we're ready to scoop stuff out. All right, but we need this bad boy here. Can I jump up here? Can I see if we... Oh, not... My vertical's not good enough, guys. Let's try it one more time. Nope. Nope. Not a good enough vertical jump for that. And we're gonna start with lime. And then we'll do fertilizer. So it should need just a little application here. And away we go. Hopefully, yeah, I think we have plenty of lime because it's only putting down 1.7. Some places it's putting down less than that. I saw, whoa, slippery because of the snow. We gotta back up and get that spot we missed, but it's, yeah, you can see 0.88 tons per hectare in some spots. But let's get cruise control set a little bit lower so we don't accidentally do that again. And get turned here, locked into place. Should be good, covering all the grounds there. We did have a comment that it was snowing in 55 degrees, which I think is hilarious. So definitely shouldn't stick. It shouldn't even be coming down. But yeah, something, I'm hoping it was fixed on later versions of this map, but the seasons and when it snows, and it just doesn't make sense to match the temperature. But we're almost done here. Plenty of lime left for this last pass. There we go. Well, could get close here at the end. 800 left. We should be good. Get this unloaded, get the fertilizer put in it, and see if we have enough of that to get this field in a great shape to make us another 500,000 liters of grass. Which next time we'll probably figure out if it's probably be half silage, half hay every time moving forward. But we'll figure that out when we need to. All right, one more time. Touching everywhere on this field. Just a little bit, 166 up to 185 kilograms per hectare going on of fertilizer here. So hopefully we have enough in capacity, and I think we should be able to get away with it here. And like I said, this field will be ready for us to just cut in the spring if we need to, or we can wait all the way till summer. It's very time consuming, so this is definitely a task we're only going to do as needed. And all complete. So I did talk to them at the animal dealer, and we did find out that they have a trailer over there that we can borrow when we do purchase from them. So we can load up our new cattle in that trailer and deliver them home, and then take the trailer back over there. And since we do have a semi truck, it's something that is available to us to be able to do now. I'm gonna take a lunch break and then we'll head on over. And it looks like that trailer is right over here. So we should be able to just back up and hook up to it like so. And then we'll come on over here, talk to them, and figure out exactly what we want to purchase and get them loaded up. And they told me to back up about right here. We're gonna go with 12 of the 18-month-old brown Swiss. You need to buy an animal husbandry first. Well, what is this thing? All right, well, we tried. And I'm leaving that in the video for sure. So we were gonna buy 12. We're actually gonna buy 24. Maybe 36. Yeah, we're gonna get at least 36. So we will do that, but I don't know. Maybe if we bought our own trailer, it wouldn't say that. Maybe it's because that trailer's not technically attached to the husbandry. I don't know. Seems to defeat the purpose of it being there and available. All right, it's like it never happened. Let's head on over here and get 36 brown Swiss purchased. Fermenting 100% perfect. All right, 36 gonna cost us $45,900. And there they are. Wait, where are they? There they are. Beautiful. All right, let's get them some food. So what we're gonna wanna do is jump in the John Deere. We're gonna get this started. We're gonna need our help menu open. We'll see the capacity of this thing, and we'll figure out how much hay we wanna put in here first. So we're gonna put the bucket down. And we bought a pallet fork. So we're gonna hook up to that. Not a pallet fork, bale fork, bale spike. And I am gonna sneak, let's see. Oh, they're stacked a certain way here. I'm pretty sure we're gonna at least need 2 of these. So let's back up here. Let's see if this is a better way for this. Kind of just snag those 2. So that should be, I don't think it's reading both of them on that number. Oh, we just really messed up those bales. But if it is, that's 8,000. I believe this is 16,000, but I could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. And then we should be able to just drop these in. We'll just back out. And we'll come on over here, and we're gonna take a peek at what percentage this gets to. 8,000, yeah, so this should be both of them. We should get to 16,000 liters, which is gonna put us just above, just below 50%. Definitely want these facing the other direction, but let's try to grab one. All right, we got one on here, and we should be able to, I don't know if it'll show us the amount. You know, let's do this smart. Do it smart. We come in here, it shows that we bought the 35,000. So this we're gonna want, so if we have 1630, oh my goodness, let's do some math. So we need this to be down to 6,500, and that would give us a perfect 50-50 mix. Let's see if we can do that without dropping it in here completely. There we go. And raise it. We'll do a little bit more. Okay, so it'll be a little bit more than 50% hay, which will be fine. We're just gonna put this bale on the ground right here, and then we're gonna switch out the bale fork for the bucket, and we're gonna uncover the tarp, or uncover the silage here. And I don't know how many buckets full this is gonna take, but I imagine we'll find out. Open. That beautiful silage. Oh, interesting number there. 2651 per bucket full. So it's gonna be quite a bit of buckets. We might want to get something with a better, higher capacity bucket long term to help out with this. Let's make sure we're close enough, not too far, and that should do it. Getting it closer to a good mixture, and we're just gonna keep doing that until she's full. All right, and that took just part of that bucket, so we are all set. Let's go ahead and back this up. We'll put the bucket down, shut her off. All right, first time feeding the cattle here. 35,000 liters of total mixed ration going into the cattle barn here, and should just pull in a little bit farther. There we go, that's far enough. And it's going in. See if they run up to eat or not. They might not in this barn, but it can hold up to 60,000 liters, so we could do another mixture, but I think that'll be good for now. We'll learn how much they go through. Looks like they're chewing on the meadow right now as well, so that is wonderful. And a lot of new equipment to figure out where we're gonna store long term. That'll definitely be part of the focus of year 5, but I think I am gonna get another mix going here and get that just topped up. Do that off camera though. Oh, now they're here eating. Perfect. Got 17 liters of milk already, and we got a little bit left over in here in capacity that we can top off tomorrow. Unbelievable. Great progress. We got a lot of money to make here in a minute though. We're about to make some money. We're gonna head on over to the main farm and fill this up with some sorghum to get sold here. We're gonna want to keep, I think, around 30 to 40 liters, and that should get us through the year, especially get us through spring summer, when we get to harvest the wheat over there. All right, let's get this loaded up. And I think 2 trips might be safe with both of these filled up. We'll see what the total is and what's left in there. So 28,000, so we're gonna take 56. Yeah, I think doing 2 trips should be safe. And we are headed to the farmer's market today. Always fun to make some cash here. Should be a good payday. All right, first one getting tipped, about 44 plus 4. Not bad. And this one should tip a lot faster since it's not the grain door. I'll have to fix the configuration on that other one. And the same amount again. So let's go do that one more time. And we're gonna have a decent amount of cash. All right, we are here. So we should be able to tip this a lot faster this time. There we go. Dollar amount climbing. Should get us well above 300,000 once we get both of these sold. We're at 281 now. And tipping the second one. And we'll have the remainder over there for when we need money and need to feed the chickens. But another almost 50,000 coming in here. We are at $333,000. Make a little bit more off of the sawmill overnight. And then in December, we're gonna end year 4 with a little build. Coming on over here just to check on the cattle. They produced over 2,000, almost 2,800 liters of milk in that short time. Should be pretty good. And over yonder with the chickens, wanted to double check we didn't need to give them feed yet. No, probably would be wise this month to do that. And wow, egg production is looking great. So the silo is gonna move long term to a new location, but right now we need to get a production going. So we're gonna do a little bit of a build time lapse here. I went with the larger building this time because I didn't want the small tiny dairy. So it's not as, you know, it doesn't blend in as well or go with the rest of the build as well. But I think facing it this way and having the primary color blue, like, I guess it's not as blue as I was thinking it was. I must have had the oil mill in mind, but this will be good. I think a little bit more detailing would be nice. We might do that later on, but I did add these trees or bushes, or I think they're trees, around here to decorate it a little bit. Hopefully I gave us enough room to drive. Let's change the aspect ratio there. Our field of view, I guess. Yeah, we should have plenty to deliver back here. Plenty of space. Be able to work on that up here as well. And let's see everything that we can do in this dairy. So we're definitely gonna want to make some butter. Here we go. So we'll want milk butter, so 15 milk to 13 butter. That's not bad. Or we can make bottled milk, which is 10 milk makes 20 bottled milk. And I thought there was something we could make with with eggs in here, but I might be thinking of something different. So we'll have to find a production or something to do with our eggs. I guess that's probably the bakery, which I guess we could think that through and possibly expand some more productions later. But this production yard's looking full, or it's getting there. We'll have to do a little bit more detailing and decorating long term once we know where every building is sitting And that's kind of why I didn't want to completely do that today with this. I don't know if I'm going to add other things nearby quite yet, but I did know I wanted that field to go away, and all the way into that field, which by the number 10 out there, I do want to get all of this cleared eventually, and productions and buildings and greenhouses, all types of stuff in here to make us a ton of money. So that's going to end year 4 of the SWU Farm series. Survival Challenge, Rags to Riches. I think it's time, year 5, to start working on the ranch. I'm SWU. I will catch you on the next one.